Dude, all right. We're recording.
We made it.
Yeah, dude.
Finally.
So,
coming.
this is the first podcast you've ever done. Is that true?
I did one.
Okay, damn.
Yeah. No, I did one back in, it's probably like 6 years ago with like a real estate guy that was trying to start like his own podcast. And at the time I had like my own personal training studio.
Yeah.
So we were just talking fitness and lifestyle, like
Real estate.
And at that point it was like the start of like feeling like the effects of like personal development. Like I was really starting to like, I'm into a flow, start my own business,
Right.
doing what I wanted to do. So
Yeah,
it was fun. I don't know. For me, I've always wanted to produce some kind of content, let my voice be heard.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever it may be. So I feel like I have a, story just like anybody else, and if somebody can relate, then I'd love to impact someone.
For sure. Well, I mean, we literally are talking all day about
All day.
like what we've been through and what we've done. Like, because nobody knows who Brett is who watches this podcast. They barely know who I am. Right. But Brett and I have been friends for 4 years, and we met out here in LA where we were personal trainers.
Yep.
And he's originally from Baltimore, right? Or outside of Baltimore.
Yeah, originally from Baltimore County, and then moved up to like Southern PA. So in the DMV area is what we call it.
Right.
DMV.
And so when you moved out here, you were training, and I was training. I think I'd been there you came out here in
2019. January 2019.
Right. So I had already been there for like 4 or 5 months.
Okay.
I think
I thought
so.
it was longer than that. Okay. That's right, because we were in that new trainer.
Yeah.
Every week we meet and talk. How are we supposed to pick up more? Yeah, the Rampers. Rampers meeting.
Business meetings.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's funny.
That's where I first like met you, because again, it was like you had like different shifts, and
right. Did I come in and talk or something?
I think you came in late.
Yeah.
And then I think you came in late. So you just seem real cool. You seem different.
Yeah.
Because I feel like all the other, there's different trainers, but there's just something different about you. I was just like, huh.
Yeah.
So
nice.
And we just started hitting it off the bat. Trying to remember some of our first conversations.
The first time that we really talked, I came in, you were opening. You had that opening shift, and I came in, and I'm like, man, fuck this. And I see you, and you're walking up the stairs on the first floor. You're walking up, and I'm like, oh God, the new people taking all of our clients, because that's what happens, right? Yeah.
What was your first impression of me? Not to interrupt you, but what was your first impression when you saw me walking up? Like, here's another LA.
No. I had no real impression.
Okay.
I just knew you were fucking yoked.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, he's gonna have a business in no time. I'm like, oh, shit. I got to get better as a trainer.
Right.
But no, you're walking up the stairs, and I'm like, God damn, he opened. I know all about that. Getting there at like 4:45, 4:30, and then you turned and looked at me, and you went like this. You went, and then you turned around and went down the stairs, and you were like, dude, and I was like, what? I was barely awake, and you were like, hey, I went into the locker room, and you followed me in, and it was like, hey, I didn't know you had a podcast. That's what you said.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was like, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, did I add him on Instagram? Because like sometimes my thinking face looks like I want to throw down. Like, hey, essay.
Yeah. I couldn't really get a beat on you. Again, you have like a very stoic way about you, for sure.
I come off as an asshole, though. There's something with the face. And
right.
then
I think you're intimidating for sure. And in your own right. I think it's like kind of like this vibe that you give off initially,
right,
to the non-aware people, whatever you want to call them, people that are just zombies. But again, for me, it's like, I don't know. I'm in the business of understanding people,
right,
and I feel like I analyze people naturally now.
Yeah,
like it's just kind of like an instinct, like.
And you give people time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Initially,
right.
And then I learn how to navigate if I need to keep, investing the time. How can I? So
yeah. So you follow me in the locker room, and I put my bag up, and you're like, man, I didn't know you had a podcast. I'm thinking, oh, damn, did I add him on Instagram? And I think I'd forgotten your name. I mean, because, you're just like, you're meeting so many new people and stuff like that. And then you're like, oh, man, that's really cool. I know this guy. And I was like, this is the first time someone's ever come up to me in L.A.
Wow, dude.
Who has just offered information. That's what I always wanted, and I don't trust it. You know what I mean? Because it just never happened.
So thinking back, dude, that was me just being me.
Yeah.
Like, hey, dude, I know someone that like is in, hey, maybe I can connect you. I'm constantly thinking about connecting people.
And so
interesting.
And so that's when I was like, damn, like this guy's legit dude. Or he's trying to act as well.
Gotcha.
Like people who are like legit, like I'm becoming an actor.
Oh, God.
Just what party do we need to go to?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, this is either he's a real cool guy or he's trying, like he doesn't know enough people to realize that I can't do anything for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Interesting. Your thought process just by living out here.
Yeah.
And kind of experiencing all walks of life.
Because back in North Carolina, I would have been like, oh, what's up? Yeah, dude. You know somebody?
Right.
In acting?
Right.
We're in Stanley, North Carolina. So that's how we met. And then from there, we just kind of started, what did we do? I mean, as a ramper, like you're so busy. I don't think we really hung out that much.
No, we never really hung out that much until, I forget. Did I come
Bring that mic a little bit closer towards you. Yeah. Yeah.
Somehow the conversation came up, whether it's you having a conversation with somebody else, but I overheard about like microdosing or...
That's what it was. That's what it was.
That's one of our, and I remember having the conversation with you while I was fucking microdosing.
Yes,
trying to explain the feeling and the current state of consciousness, whatever you want to call it, I was in.
And
but
then
for me, it's just like, I barely know this guy, but I'm just spilling like, I'm microdosing LSD every morning at 4 a.m. in the morning and driving my motorcycle down, Runyon Canyon and fucking living the dream. Like,
and I was
I'm in this flow and
I don't know anybody who does this. I've got to talk to him more about it.
Yeah.
Because I was at a point in my life where I was like, I had done so much research on microdosing, psilocybin, MDMA, ketamine, all the things, right? All the psychedelic therapy tools that people have done research on and have helped people, right? And I'm like, I know so many people that need help, and to me, I'm a helper,
right?
I'm a good supporter, to a flaw sometimes.
Yep,
you know what I mean. And so. Yeah, that's what it was. We started talking, and you're like, "Yeah, dude, I just drove here from the hills on a motorcycle." And I'm
living this crazy lifestyle.
This dude's wild,
like night and day from what I came from back in Baltimore.
Yeah, I'm thinking, this is just you, like this is how you've always been.
Gotcha.
Right,
no, I was breaking free, man.
Right, but that's
free.
But yeah. I don't realize that when I tell people that I microdose, they're thinking, "Oh man, this guy's fucking wild."
Right.
But it's like actually I didn't even drink until I was like, I didn't have a drink until I was 21.
Mm-hmm.
Literally waited. And then after that, I was like, no, I don't want to drink. Right?
Yeah.
And then never smoked until I was 28.
Right.
Because I couldn't sleep. And I was like, I got to find a way to sleep.
Right.
And so it helped a little bit. Right. So when you said, I'm doing it right now, I drove my motorcycle, I'm like, dude, this guy's wild. But I got to understand more about this. And you were approaching it from a chemist background.
Right, yeah. Chemist, therapeutic, understanding.
Because you got your degree in what?
Yeah, so a biology degree and then minor in chem. Ultimately, I was trying to get into pharmacy school, but...
You were the first person that was like, I measure it. And I was like, yeah, that's what you got to do.
100%.
And I've heard, and I would talk to people, right, about, hey, you know anything about microdosing? And they're like, oh yeah, I microdosed this weekend. Really? He's like, yeah. I said, how much did you take? Like 4 caps. And I'm like, hold on. You don't measure this at all.
Were they big caps? Were they small caps?
Right.
Like,
you didn't weigh this. You didn't crush it up. You hold on, what?
Yeah. It's a process.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's so nonchalant and like not my approach to this, because I'm approaching it from a therapeutic perspective.
Exactly.
Not recreationally.
Yeah, let's like microdose and then just go have a good Saturday.
Yeah, it was a great microdose.
Yeah.
4 caps. Like, what the heck? You got to weigh that and whatever. But you weren't doing that. And I was like, okay, finally someone who actually respects this and is actually doing it to better himself.
Yeah.
Like, you talk to some people and they're like, yeah, I like doing it every once in a while. I'm like, well, what do you do when you do it? I just go out to a party. And it's just like, what are you getting from that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you would get up at 4 a.m., jump into the pool, which was like in the 50s.
Yeah, this was like January, February.
Yeah.
Super cold, without a doubt. And that was definitely like that was a rainy season. I don't know if you remember.
I remember it. Because I was jumping in the Santa Monica ocean.
We did that too.
Yeah.
We did that too. Yeah, and just got into like a routine, just literally breaking. I had a routine back home, but I come here, like start fresh and new. And it was all just like a mentality thing, just combining everything that I've heard and like, tools that I've acquired along the way. Like, how can I be the most efficient, effective person and intentional about my time while I'm out here? Because I'm making a tremendous amount of sacrifice. And so, it was easy when you're like that laser focused and not really having that many responsibilities. I was in an extremely blessed situation to be posted up in the hills, being connected to people that, saw the value in me in some way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's funny you say that because like when you move out here, right, and you're thinking somebody's going to see my character, right? At least that's what you're hoping.
Right.
And then for me, it didn't really happen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn. But dude, if it would have, I would have been soaking up. I was like, yes, of course. Like I've lived a certain way to be a leader, right? To be a certain type of person, and somebody acknowledges that, and is well connected. And you're like, oh shit, this is what you envision. Yeah. And then it happened.
Then it happened.
Yeah.
For me, I think that individual, saw my character for several years.
Yeah.
Got to know me, and saw what, I helped him out in a really difficult situation, dealing with an individual that was super special to him. And I think for him, he's probably not exposed to that level of genuine, heart, especially out in, it's hard to find.
Not at all out here.
LA. But yeah, so again, all the connections that I make, they're all bound to happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just about being intentional with your time and who you're spending your time with and what connections you want to keep churning along, just based on where you are in your life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
so
in your bed, Kuna.
That's the way I look at it.
Oh my God. My dog's out. Yeah, man. So then we started talking about microdosing, and then we just we realized that we had such similar backgrounds, that
born and raised in a Christian home.
Yeah, and with good parents,
great parents.
Like there's the born and raised in a Christian home. And my parents are shitheads.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And now I'm Marilyn Manson.
Mm-hmm. That is literally that story.
Exactly.
Yeah. In a nutshell.
Yep.
I'm Marilyn Manson.
Yep.
But yeah, and so we connected on that because a lot of people come out here and poo-poo religion.
Right.
And it's like, I understand, but also maybe just learn a little bit more about it, So it's hard to have those conversations with people, especially in LA, especially coming from the South.
Right.
Being a Christian, and all the baggage that comes with.
Yeah.
When you live in LA, you don't think about it when you're in where you're from. Like, everybody's nice to me just because I'm nice back.
Right.
But in LA, they hear your accent and they're like, "Oh my God, are you from the South?" It just goes into stereotypes,
already
and you're like
prejudging you.
Yeah.
South.
Yeah. So it's like
flag.
You've got layers of things you have to get through that take too much time for a 20-second introduction.
Right. Right.
Like it's just too much.
Too much.
Yeah.
How do you
but we connected on that.
Yeah, we connected on that.
And we were both trying to better our lives and our situation, and we found the microdosing and psychedelic therapy at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's like, damn, like this, someone that I found on my personal journey, it's like, wow, we're on similar journeys. It's like, why not just, have someone alongside you, build you up, and it's just amazing how our relationship has just, flourished. But again, just I think with the commonality of being open to like anything.
Yeah.
I feel like it's hard to find.
It is.
Hard to find, like, especially again back east.
Mm-hmm.
Just different vibe than LA, obviously, but specifically where I am, it just it's different.
Yeah, I've thought about this. Like,
it's hard to connect with people that are open.
Right.
So, and again, for me, like finding someone that, because I feel like as time goes on, being more and more open and seeing how my life has drastically changed by mentors that came along the way, coaches along the way, kind of showing me a different perspective and showing what being open feels like.
Right.
And then I find someone like, hey, you're open too, but we come from, like, what happened in your life? How can I learn from your situation?
Yeah.
And just connecting on that level, like just being able to connect with someone on many different levels is hard to find,
Well, because it's hard to do.
Judgment free.
Yeah.
I know if I tell you something, Cody, like something that I've fucked up with in life, that you're not going to sit here and be like, dude, like what the fuck's wrong? Like, I just know, like, this is just a safe place.
Yeah.
Like, can you find that?
It's hard. It's really hard.
Even
in your own family. Yeah. I mean, it's just, you think that it's not supposed to be like that. Like, sometimes I'm like, I should stop calling people brother. Because I'm like, you want to be my brother?
Right.
Like, we're stuck together.
Mm-hmm.
And for all great reasons. But then those reasons, because of the length of time, other stuff gets in there. And you're like, well, you're still brothers.
Yep.
You're still blood. And you're like, damn, I mean, I don't think, I think there's a place for brothers, but it makes your friendships better.
I like that.
You know what I mean? There's like it's like a reciprocity between the two. It's like, I feel like the more I've understood my relationship with my brother, the better my friendships can become.
Okay.
They have become in some sense.
Right.
I'm being hard on myself here, but
right.
But I do see more room for improvement the better my relationship with my brother gets.
Awesome.
Because, I mean, it's been a struggle.
Yeah.
Because we don't get to see each other as much, and, we're living on opposite sides of the country. We're living different lives.
Going
through different things that you can't, like, you can have a conversation on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
But then at a certain point, after years and years of that, it's been about 8 years, you drift apart.
Yeah.
I
think it's just like having different life experiences. Again, I think, something that you and I relate with, you have an older brother. I have an older brother, 2.5 years. And you guys are 2 years. So it's like, he was like my best friend. You guys were best friends. So
right.
It's like, and it's just interesting to be able to like compare like stories. Like, my brother like took a totally different path. He's married, 4 kids, travel nurse, creates his own adventures, still a kid at heart. But he has like, we can still relate on the brother level, but relating on different things and different perspectives and what we spend our time and energy on versus back in the day, my brother was, working cross-country track. We're all commonality. So it's just very interesting. And then just to hear how you and your brother have been similar, and then how you guys have, branched off, but it's still like that core brothership. That blood, nothing separates blood.
No,
nothing.
Especially when you go through shit. Like
it helps.
I mean, you've gone through it together, and you've like supported each other through it. You can't get past that.
Yeah.
Like, you might get mad at each other, but then you're like, he did this for me. Like, no one else has.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't deny those things.
Right.
No,
for sure.
Yeah. What was I thinking about? I think I used to suffer from this concept of being just like my brother. Not in a way of like, trying to be him, but like almost. But no, I used to think like, and I used to say like all the time, like my brother and I are exactly the same, but we're just a little different. And for some reason, I don't know, I think I felt like I couldn't. Don't make that not true. You've said it, you know? And what I've realized is the older we've gotten, we're very different. But it's like that Edgar Allan Poe quote, the love of a brother, or something. It goes like, the love of a brother for a brother is so strong, not that they love each other, but that they love the same parent.
Interesting.
Yeah. And there's that bond that you have with your...
I never thought about that bond. Love for the same parent.
Yeah.
Mutual amount of love.
Yeah.
At least, initially.
Yeah. And we both
that
loved
level
our parents.
of relatability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you always get along best with people who you share values with.
Right.
Right. And the way you know what your values are is by what you love the most.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Exactly.
That shows you who you are and what you really feel, and and when it is a parent, as a child, you look at your dad as a hero.
Yep.
He could do anything, that forms a bond.
Yep.
Yeah, because we're like, look at dad, like, I love you, dad, and then I love you, dad, and we're just kind of brings you, kind of gets you, worked up. But then, my brother and I just kind of witnessed my dad not able to reach goals that he had set and kind of spiral down because of it, and not be able to pivot, in certain areas in his life. And so that's where all of our tension comes from. But now that we're older and we've had more time apart, like I see things about him that are like, I've always admired, but I'm like, wow, he is unique. Like he is uniquely different than me. And I am uniquely different from him. And it's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like how well can you get to know your brother when you're a kid?
Yeah.
Because you're still trying to figure out like what the fuck's going on.
You don't even know who you are.
Exactly. It's like you're not really even aware of like consciousness. You just kind of showed up.
Yeah.
And now you're just, you know what I'm saying? So it's like
you never,
and I don't think at a young age you're thinking about like the relationship dynamic.
Right.
It's lateral. It's like he's my brother, and that's older brother. There's that dynamic.
Yeah.
Still to this day, it's interesting. I'll never understand it because I'm never going to be an older brother.
Right.
Like why that older brother mentality still has to linger on, if you want to call it that. You know, why?
Well, I have a younger sister.
Okay.
And it's a weird thing. Like I always feel like I have to.
Sister, it's got to be a different.
It is
dynamic.
different, yeah. But still, I have this thought that I have to make sure that she's not okay, but like if we're talking about something, I'm like, well, okay, but we shouldn't do that because of like I'll find myself going into that mode of like kind of like telling her what not to do, where I wouldn't do that to anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just because I want to be a good example.
Right.
And that's kind of what it is.
Is that what that is with my brother? He just wants to be a good example for me. Again,
well, I thought about the fact that as the oldest child, I remember my brother always being told, "You're the example. You're set the example." I feel like that's every oldest child.
Right.
And so it's like it's a huge burden, and it's like you can't do that.
Right. Interesting.
And then a lot of parents will get their oldest child to like parent the other kids.
Yeah, I've seen that
and
dynamic.
Babysit the other kids.
Yep.
Yeah,
we were always too close, so he never really babysat me. So, but again, there's always the older brother. I remember that dynamic. So,
yeah.
But it's funny, my parents thought I was going to be the problem child, because usually it's like the youngest that, you know, but now the roles were reversed, and my brother was definitely the problem child, like growing up in like middle school, high school. My brother was at the time definitely like, you know, more open-minded and like free-spirited. You know, the first time I ever smoked weed was with my brother. I was 8th grade. You know,
really?
Yeah. Up on God's Hill, and out in the middle of fucking York County, Pennsylvania, out in the middle of a fucking cornfield. Probably, and it was cold as shit outside. I think there was snow on the ground. So, yep.
Dang.
Yeah, so,
what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, it just made me like giggly,
right?
You know.
Yeah.
But obviously, weed was different back in those days. Like it was like dirt weed.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, so he was always like the free spirited, and I think he dabbled in like, you know, ecstasy and shrooms. And his first time I ever did, you know, psilocybin was with him. Thank God. Just fucking took I think we both took like 3 grams. And again, for me, like 12th grade, you know, thinking it's just gonna be like getting high, smoking weed.
Yeah.
And then once that motherfucker hit,
yeah.
First half was amazing experience. You know, had like, you know, the glow sticks, and my brother was in the raving and shit.
Really?
And we had like techno music on, and in the family room, and something triggered me. And thinking back, I remember what triggered me. It was like I think my ego started like spurring up, and I started thinking about like negative shit in my life. I don't know how it just, and then it just spiraled. I was like, oh God.
This is the first time.
That's when like the bad trip.
Oh, this was the mushrooms. Got it.
The mushrooms.
And you were how old?
Senior year of high school.
Senior year. Yeah.
I remember like saving him up so he could be like, I think he was home from like college.
Yeah.
And it was during the winter break. And my parents were out of town. And yeah, like I said, that last half, I was trying to control stuff. Again, no understanding of any kind of, you know, my intentions were to have a good time. It was
right.
You know,
not
just understanding like
to be exposed to the anxiety underneath.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it was rough, but again, Big Brother was there, man. He was that safe haven, and I mean, he was tripping balls too. You know what I'm saying? For him to be able to like manage and navigate my dumbass, you know, him to like come through and like, hey, yeah, you'll be good, man. Everything's good,
right?
So, but always has that Big Brother mentality for sure.
Yeah, bring that mic a little closer. There you go. Yeah.
I got a really bad cotton mouth, man. Really bad.
It's all good. What was I gonna say? Mushrooms.
We were talking about how we first met, commonalities.
Yeah. And then, right? So we're trainers, and we're trying to make a living in Los Angeles, training crazy people.
Yeah, crazy people that have a lot of money, and whether they come from money, and I feel like the people that started from nothing have like much more. Let me do this for you. There you go. Yeah. Much more.
I know it's in the way.
Appreciation. Yeah.
Is it too much in the way?
No, it's cool.
Okay. I just want to make, because you're going in and out on the mic. That's okay.
How about this?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Just wherever you're comfortable.
All right.
But yeah, just keep it there so I can hear your ass.
Yes,
but what were you saying? We were training. We're training at Equinox, and we're also doing other things.
Right.
You know, we're pursuing other things in life, because we're not just trying to be trainers until we're 65.
Right.
So we're doing other things, and I think we just started supporting each other, you know?
Yeah.
Because like when you meet somebody else who's got ideas of doing stuff, you're like, oh, cool, me too. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of people don't want to do that. And you're kind of like, all right, well, you're cool, but like I can't talk to you about this other side gig thing.
Yeah. No, I think for me, I think naturally I'm just a very talkative person. I've been known to like suppress myself for other people kind of thing. But again, when I was, you know, microdosing LSD, like, what do you expect? Like, this is like opening, you know, opening yourself up.
Right.
You know, open up your heart. So for me, I was in a place of opening up and like receiving what you're, so like there's like,
so you were able to give.
Yeah. And able to like feel like connected, you know, in like a different way. You know, yeah, there's the commonalities, but just like getting to know you as a person because you were opening yourself up to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah. You know, it's a funny point because when back in the day when I would hear people talk about openness, you know what I mean? Oh, I was like, oh, this fucking hippie.
Woo
like,
woo yeah.
But I think in a lot of situations in the psychedelic community, the wording has to change because the connotation to what a lot of the verbiage is from the 60s, 70s, 80s, or whatever.
Yeah.
And but the openness that you're talking about is like you're able to reveal more about who you are because you see more in someone else.
Yes.
In a way.
Exactly.
Right? It kind of keeps going back and forth. Oh, I saw more about myself, so I can see more about you. I see more of you. Well, I think I can see myself more.
Yeah. I mean, what you focus on in someone else is kind of like what's going on inside of you.
Yeah.
You know, if you're walking around miserable, you're going to see other people as miserable.
Yeah.
You know, just hone in and focus on that negative bullshit.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. So, but I wouldn't say impossible, but my experience with, you know, microdosing LSD, again, it was over, like the routine was, I think I did it every 2 days, like a microdose, and then take 2 days off, microdose. And I did that like consistently, to my understanding, I think up to like 45 days. And again, I wasn't doing like the full 10 IUs, which is like, which is recommended.
Yeah.
I was doing like half that. Again, I started small, just out of like fear. But I remember doing like a full 10. I was like, whoa, this is too much for me to navigate. I need to like work up to this per se.
Yeah.
Learn how to let go and just let it unfold its course. But yeah, what were we talking about?
We were just talking about openness.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you would explain it that way to somebody, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. You know? But like as a Christian, it got twisted. When people would say openness, it was like, oh, you're just open in a way of receiving spirits. Right. Yeah. Like you're going to get possessed by something.
Mm-hmm. Spiritual warfare.
Yeah, the spiritual warfare, right? So, but dude, then you see people become drug addicts, and you're like, well, you know, but like the verbiage that they're using is hard for people to accept. But then, you know, when you see somebody become an alcoholic or a drug addict or whatever, that's what it looks like.
Right.
You know what I mean? So metaphysically, they're right.
Yeah.
You know, but now we know addiction is like all this trauma in the past and the situation where they're at right now, combination of some type of thing that makes them feel better when they feel so bad.
Right.
Now they're addicted.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, that openness word used to like weird me out.
For sure.
Because people would end up doing these drugs, right? Recreationally, right?
Different intentions.
And it's not like they made them any better.
Yeah.
Especially in high school, it made them worse.
Yeah.
You know? So you're like, I don't want that openness.
Yeah. Open and like, you know, seeing stuff and, oh, cool. It's so cool to see things. But what does that actually mean? Like, you're obviously seeing something for a reason.
Right.
It's from like your subconscious, different level of consciousness, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So why is that? Why are you seeing those things?
Yeah.
Understanding it like that. But again, like intention is everything from my opinion and just what I understand about, you know, doing a therapy session or microdosing. It's all about intention, just like anything in life. You and I have talked about it. Yeah. You know, I think intention is everything. One of the most impactful books that I was introduced that really got this ball rolling with, you know, I hate the fucking word personal development.
Right, I know.
Fuck.
Same thing, right?
How do you develop personally?
Yeah.
How about we just all get to know each other better?
Yeah.
And get to know yourself better?
That's it.
How about that?
That's all it is.
how can you develop to be better when you just be yourself? Anyways, you can go there if you want. But what I was saying was, what was I saying?
We were talking about everything's intention.
Yeah. So, Power of Intention, that book, Dr. Wayne Dyer. I mean, fucking rest in peace. It's amazing, not to deter from the conversation. This guy's dead, but it's amazing to see what his, 30 plus books, how it can impact someone's life.
Yeah.
He's dead. So he wrote all this stuff out, and here I am reading it, trying to change my life, change my fucked up situation that I got myself into from my perspective in that current state of,
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, this dead guy has impacted my life just by being an example to other people, finding a different way of life, finding a different way to change your life. Again, change your thoughts, change your life. So again, back to that book, I mean, just really understand. Again, I read it and listened to it at this time, probably like 6 or 7 times, because it's funny. You learn something new every single time with this kind of a book. On just being more intentional with what you do with your life.
Yeah.
It's like what got us here in the first place, intention.
Yeah.
What we place our intention, it's almost like he talks about it as like an energy source, like energy is intention. So what do we place in our energy and, will essentially expand? Because again, like we talk about it all the time, we're ever expansion.
Yeah.
Expansive.
Yeah. Expansion. Yeah.
Expansion.
That's, yeah. Yeah. I kind of made that switch in my head. Remember when I texted you? I think I might have texted you, or we were talking, and I said, yeah, it's like there is no personal growth. There's no self-growth. It's all expansion.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you're thinking, I'm getting up to this level.
Right.
I'm getting up to this level. And it's like, there are no levels. You're only expanding.
And you have to be intentional about what you expand into.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, so like, when you see these young people recreationally microdosing or using...
It's trendy and
it's
Joe
just
Rogan does it, so it's got to be cool.
Yeah, it's like, now the shamanic tradition makes so much more sense to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, it really does. Like having a ritual, a way of doing it with
absolutely.
Clear and set intentions for a purpose, around an idea that we all believe in, the universe, this creation, this thing that created us, this mystery of life,
I think medicines like that should be looked at in that perspective, man. Like this is like mind altering shit. And if it's not handled with care, intentionally, then, it could be, detrimental to like mental health.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. I can definitely see how perspectives and realities can change if you abuse this shit. I've witnessed it. A very, very good,
good friend.
Really good friend. Damn. Crazy friendships, how they come and go. Just like anything in life, Yeah. But that's the beauty of understanding connected versus attachment.
Yeah. What is it? Attached to nothing, connected to everything.
Dr. Wayne Dyer, baby.
Wayne Dyer.
Fucking Dyer.
That's a great meditation mantra. This is the most interrupted podcast I've ever done.
It's all good, man. It was meant to be.
That's hilarious.
It was meant
Just
to
meditating.
be. But that was what I said. My second NDMA session journey. That was like I literally set the intention. I said those words and popped that capsule and attached to nothing, connected to everything, and that's literally how that session went. And
now,
it literally, like I was given that gift of what that like truly means to me, at least.
Right.
So
in the session, you're saying.
In the session.
So when you
not to get too far ahead.
No. Yeah, that's. Yeah, I mean, but like when you made that intention, what did you think that was, and then what did it become?
That's a great question. I knew what it meant, but again, I feel what it means now. Again, it's hard.
That makes sense. Yeah.
You can't really describe that in any other vocabulary that's in the English language.
Right.
So you have to experience it yourself. So just experience it, whether it's through feeling, whether it's through the visuals, that I saw, just being connected to this energy source and feeling that.
Yeah.
Right. So, and letting go of the attachments that I had in my life at the current, state of mind. So essentially it went from analyzing my life for where it was and, in a therapeutic, psychedelic state of mind, with MDMA, and diving in, crying my eyes out about certain situations and certain perspectives that I had on my life, letting them go, literally I found myself instinctually doing these deep breathing exercises. Because again, when you're on MDMA, breath is like
heaven, baby.
Heaven.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. The veil that MDMA sheds, but instinctually working that breath work and visualizing, just releasing that thought and being able to navigate my thoughts. I literally felt like I was reprogramming my brain. It was literally, or in my library, remember I told you about my library?
That was a part of the journey where you...
Yeah, I was in the library and, my thoughts and just being able to nonchalantly just, turn the pages. And then at one point I was going through a file cabinet so fast. It's just slow down. So just little reminders just kind of popped up during that session.
And in that moment with the library, what were your thoughts? What was that realization that you had? These are my thoughts.
Yeah, these are my thoughts, and just how powerful thoughts are, and how when I had a thought of something in relation to a past experience with my mom or something, and all of a sudden just the body kind of locked up, and I was sweating, and then just as I was talking through it, and crying about it, and I feel getting emotional about it was another way of releasing it. You're just literally, so as you're talking to yourself through hey, your mom loves you, whatever the issue may be, and then just letting go, and then just taking a step back and okay, what's next? Feeling good about the situation.
Yeah.
Again, I any kind of psychedelic therapy, or I just kind of describe it as looking through a different lens. Right now we're looking at this lens based on emotions and feelings.
Yeah.
But when you unveil, get rid of that veil.
Look behind the veil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you were talking about the files and the pages. It kind of gave you a sense of control with your thoughts.
Exactly.
Okay, these are mine. I get to look at them at the pace that I want to.
Basically, it was I was looking through a book, and it was establishing a new way that I can, quote unquote, control my thoughts, or at least control my feelings behind thoughts.
Right.
Changing my perspective. Something happens in life that's could possibly, for instance, news, within the internal family currently right now, what I'm about to kind of embark, some new family dynamic changes. I have the ability now, I feel to be able to, navigate and, okay, let's look at all different angles, all different perspectives. What perspective is best going to serve you?
Yeah.
And focus on that. Yeah, the other perspectives play a role in it. You can look at it that way, but is it really going to serve you? Is that really how you want to look at it?
Yeah.
It's constantly doing your best to find the good in every situation.
Right.
So,
and you've got a good definition of what good is.
Yeah.
Right. Like we were talking about earlier. It's you really do have to understand what really is good. And you see a lot of people, younger people who have these psychedelic experiences in a recreational way and immaturely.
Right. With an immature mind and brain.
That's fine, because we were all there. But their understanding of what is good is not at the level it should be to actually really reap the benefits of this experience.
Right. 100%.
And yet, the problem with psychedelics is it kind of, it unveils something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you can't leave that experience. It's like you're leaving that experience with a secret knowledge
Right.
And if you're an arrogant asshole, you become that guy that's the psychonaut that thinks he knows everything. And if you've never done psychedelics, he's not going to talk to you or take you seriously.
Right.
And it's like, that's a character flaw.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily what it has to do to you.
Right.
It can actually make you more humble and more aware of everything that you don't know.
Right. Exactly. Have you run into a lot of psychonauts?
I've had one person introduce himself to me as a psychonaut.
Okay.
And I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
That's the first time I'd ever heard it. He was rolling jiu-jitsu with me.
Okay.
Yeah, he had a background in, I think he might have played football in college, and he was getting into it, and he was just like he was a tough dude. He had never really wrestled before, and he got pretty good at jiu-jitsu. And yeah, he had moved from Austin, and he had worked with Aubrey Marcus.
Okay.
I think he worked on his podcast, or he might have worked for Onnit.
Okay.
The company that Aubrey Marcus owns, supplement company.
Yep.
And yeah, so, but he came off as like kind of I know more because I'm a psychonaut. Like we're a select few, we're a higher class. You know, I was like, okay, cool.
And then I would have asked him, what is more?
Yeah, I didn't have the vocabulary.
If you've like asked me, I asked myself that in my session.
Yeah.
It's amazing, where your mind goes. It's almost like there's like this mechanism in your brain that automatically goes to like the bullshit. And it was funny just how it all like unfolded like perfectly. But
right.
Anyways, what was I saying?
More.
Oh yeah. I asked myself, I'm not doing enough. Am I doing enough? I always want more. What is more? And I remember asking myself, in that session, and then just kind of chuckling. I'm like, come on, Brett. What do you mean? What is more?
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Right.
And I just remember
you never really asked yourself that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, does anybody what is more?
No.
More, is that just a feeling of experiencing more? Because that's really what again, reverse engineering comes down to emotions and feelings is what dictates how we perceive our reality.
Yeah, it has a big part of it.
I mean, if you can get a grasp on that, it's like I feel like you can get a grasp on anything.
Yeah, once you become aware of those feelings and that they're not you.
Right.
Right, and then the ideas around those feelings are not you either. But understanding where they come from, and you're like, oh, okay, of course I would react that way.
Right.
But I don't have to right now.
Right.
So finally getting to that awareness,
mm-hmm.
I never, you think about yourself at 18, would you have thought that you could get there?
I didn't know where there was.
Exactly. What is that?
Yeah.
I'm aware of, oh, you mean when I get mad at so-and-so for not saying anything to me all day because that's what happened to me when I was 8
mm-hmm.
and my mom didn't say anything. So I held a grudge like an immature child does.
Right.
An undeveloped brain does.
Mm-hmm.
And I carried that over into my relationships, and now that's affected the woman that I've committed my life to. All because of 8-year-old Cody.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And
it's like you don't even think you'd ever get there because you don't know what there is. That's a great statement.
Yeah, write that one down. That's a good one.
That's written in blood.
No, that's a good YouTube.
Yeah,
if
that might be the name of the episode.
Yeah, with the algorithm that works.
Yeah.
So,
but no, back to your experience. You went to the filing cabinet. You were able to look through thoughts faster than normal.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
which is crazy that I was literally seeing this. I had a blindfold on,
right?
And basically, blindfold, had my eyes shut for a period of time. Then I opened my eyes, and that's when I actually started seeing shit.
Right.
Legit, pitch black, but literally things were just unfolding before my eyes.
Yeah.
And again, it's one thing to hear about, oh yeah, I saw pixelations and
right.
crazy shit like that. But, you know, just to like experience it, because there's meaning behind all that. There has to be, or not like thousands of people, you know, are sharing very similar experiences.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
There has to be a deeper meaning to that. So that's what I'm most fascinated by with like just, you know.
Like you're saying like things that you saw in your session or in your experience, other people in those sessions have seen as well.
Yeah, I mean, how many people talk about you know, the whole pixelation city and things, you know, melting, and the ones like seeing like a different entity,
right?
Or, you know, flying in the cosmos.
Yeah,
you know, like very similar.
Yeah, I hope I had that experience.
I mean, you got to.
Dude,
I think the differentiating thing was implementation of the THC.
Right.
That was definitely a game changer with the second one around. I know we talked about that. I think the MDMA just kind of gets you to like this baseline, you know, releases the veil, and then I feel like THC, the way I envision it, could be totally wrong, but I just feel like it got me into. I was already in a meditative state, but I got into a meditative state within a meditative state. So I was just like deep.
You went a level under.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and just because I fully just let go.
Right.
So.
And let go is one of those other things too, right?
Let go.
Open. I'm just more open.
Yeah.
I just let go. It's like, it's so loaded. But like letting go, if you were to break that down, what do you think that would mean? Letting go of the fear of the unknown in that situation?
Yeah, I think it's like trying to control life situations. Why not just let it unfold?
Right.
Just like the more we try and control, it's the paradoxical thing. The more I let go, the more control that I have.
Right.
Based on a perception. So that's the way I look at it. It's just literally just what's going to happen is going to happen in life. There's certain things in our control, some things not in our control. But it's just like, why not just intentionally let go and just understand that you're going to best be able to navigate that now better. Yeah. Whatever life throws at you. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be super deep, you know, death of a parent or death and tremendous potential for trauma. But I feel like just having like this level of awareness and honestly like sense of peace.
Yeah.
I feel like anything's like possible and able to like navigate through. Because again, like through that experience, I felt like, you know, this is all just so small in comparison to the bigger picture.
Whatever issue you're dealing with or experience you're going through.
That was meant to happen for some reason.
Right. And I think it's because of the first session where you were able to link so many things, right? You're like, oh, this, oh, of course. And it's made me who I am. And also on top of that, you find more appreciation for yourself
right
in the session too.
For sure.
Because, I mean, you're always your worst critic.
For sure.
Right? And so that's what, you know, people who struggle with depression, PTSD, anxiety have been able to improve their lives with or through is just the aspect of you can appreciate yourself more without that judgmental voice.
Right.
That shuts off. And many people haven't had that shut off their entire lives. Like, how can you get it shut off?
Yeah, they're not aware of like it's something called like an ego. An ego, like when people think of like an ego, it's like, oh, some fucking douchebag. You know, he's got a big ego.
It could be that.
Yeah, it can be that. Yeah, for sure. But
it can turn into something.
It's deeper than that. So
that bullies you.
Right. So it's like the self-love can't come when you have like these expectations and this false sense of self that you have on yourself.
Right.
You know, how can you love yourself when you feel like you're not living up to your expectations, your parents' expectations, you know?
Yeah.
So how can you love yourself?
You can't.
Why do you want to? You know, but you should.
Yeah. It's almost like people get to that point and they deal with depression and they're struggling for the rest of their lives on why I should appreciate me. when I haven't done this, and I'm holding myself to this standard, and I can't let go of that.
Yeah.
And
like I was meant to be a doctor, I was meant to be a lawyer, and but I never live life with regret, basically.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, living your life. Again, I fell prey to it. I was basically in a marriage, basically living a life for someone else, doing what they wanted for me. It didn't work that way. I forced my way out in like the worst way possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you were acting out.
Yeah, I was acting out.
Yeah.
It's just like, how can I'm so far in, I'm married, sickness and in health, and what's the worst possible thing you can do to get out of a relationship? And I took that route.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but now I remember when you were in that bed and you were going through it the first session, and you were like, oh, of course I acted that way. Of course.
Yeah.
Because of this, and this.
Yep. Yeah, connecting the dots.
And then you were like, oh, I never even thought about it through her perspective.
Yeah.
Like, man.
Being able to essentially, for so long I was looking for forgiveness from her and her family and somebody else. And I mean, you live out a life, with that under your belt for so long, whether you're aware of it or not, it's going to continuously drag you down. It's going to keep your confidence not where it should be.
Yeah.
You're not being true to yourself. You're still thinking like you failed somebody. Like for the longest of time, it was like, I failed my marriage. I failed her family. They were so good to me. And I made up this other fucking scenario in my head, really how it happened, when at the end of the day, that scenario was basically just me not wanting to take complete, ownership for my actions. I just kind of skirted around like, oh, they turned their backs on me because I was trying to be, well, it was more than that, Brett. Come on, let's be real with yourself. So just being real with myself and breaking it down in, that session, like going back to literally those points in time, feeling how I felt, and literally almost like I was there back in my past, acting as like a therapist.
Yeah, for yourself.
For myself.
Yeah.
And
it's interesting you said you couldn't take ownership of it.
Nope.
And you know what I think happens is, because if you would have taken ownership for that before your MDMA, what would it have looked like?
Dirty, rotten sinner.
Yeah. So, and you don't know what to do with that.
Going to hell,
and you don't know what to do with that.
What do I do with it?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why
Wow.
I think that's why a lot of people don't take ownership, and me included. I'm not but the more that you can get to the point where taking ownership for flaws and failures is an okay place for you, because you know how to pivot and still love yourself and appreciate everything else that you've done correctly.
Right.
Is the moment when you'll take ownership.
Exactly.
And it's like, but if you don't have that support from yourself, and you know how to pivot, then you don't take ownership. And it's not like you're an asshole or something. It's like, he literally doesn't know how to pivot. If he accepts everything that he just did, he might off himself.
Yeah. Damn. So true. Well, the funny thing is like,
and then it's like, well, I'm a Christian. I was like, yeah, but we're forgetting Christ's love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Forgetting the most important concept.
Right.
Right? Forgiveness.
Forgiveness. Exactly. Our sins are washed away from the blood of the Lamb.
Yeah, it's such a great visual, and then we forget about it.
Yep. But what's interesting is that as I appreciated everything that came out of like the rough times of my life, back in my mid-20s with, married, divorced, had a kid all within 2.5 years.
Yeah.
That's the short version of it. I later became more appreciative of it because I've seen, the expansion in certain things, but it's what really changed into a different depth, I should say, of appreciation was, taking ownership for it. I feel like that was like one of like the final puzzles of just kind of letting that go and being okay with it.
How are you able to do that?
through the session, again, taking ownership for it, like acknowledging, like, Brett, you created this fucking basically scenario, you know, it happened this way, but you kind of threw in some things that made you feel better. Oh, like I said, they turned their backs on me and they did this. They took me to have intervention with me, and I think they had their own, you know, outlook on it, but I think they genuinely did care about me for sure. How they went about doing it, I wouldn't necessarily, you know, think it was the best way. Because I think they had their own issues that they've dealt with before in the past, you know, with, you know, there's substance use going on. So they thought the best approach, get a therapist. At the time they thought I was addicted to steroids. So I was doing, you know, cycles and trying to compete and
looking yoked.
Looking yoked, bro. That fucking trembolone sandwich will fuck you up, bro. I was benching like ridiculous amounts of weight, bro. Nasty. Anyways, alter ego, you know. I used to fuck some shit up in the gym, bro. That was a good time.
No, I've seen you.
It's nice being strong.
Yeah.
It's fun. But again, I'm not to deter from the conversation, but that's why I'm just trying to get more like functional lately.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Like, again, I always talk about this, but I really want to get into fucking like Muay Thai, martial arts and shit.
That'd be sick.
I think what I'm gonna do,
dude, while you're in town, I should just hold mitts for you, teach you some stuff.
Okay, I need to do some stretching because I'm still pretty tightened up from that.
I got
flight.
gloves.
Oh fuck yeah!
Yeah.
Okay. But what was I saying? Oh, I think what I'm gonna do for the month of March, because I'm contemplating another session March 31st. FYI, we haven't talked about that yet. For the month of March, taking off from weight training, and just doing yoga.
Oh, nice.
Give my fucking body a break already.
Yeah, dude.
Like, I've been pounding the shit out of it, bro.
Yeah.
I take breaks, but like, just more of like a therapeutic month. Yeah, it's going to be difficult because I love pounding the shit out of my body, but like, there's probably so much fucking inflammation going on right now.
Oh, yeah.
So looking at March is like more of like a repair, you know, getting some PT now that I got health insurance after, you know, not having it for 10 years.
Yeah.
And massage therapy and whatnot. So I don't know how I got into that, but that's what I'm proclaiming on your podcast.
No, we're talking about just your marriage and like I think a lot of people.
Oh, with bodybuilding and yeah.
A lot of people when they think of like a marriage that you never heard of a marriage that, like if you were divorced, like it's always a marriage failed. You know what I mean? There's just so much failure behind that like nobody wants to look at it properly because once you get a divorce, it's a failure. And you know that people think about it and blah, blah. And it's like, dude, I don't even know I don't know what I've done if I got married in my early 20s.
Yeah, I was 26.
Like the fact.
No, I was 25. No, 24.
Yeah.
This is back in 12, bro.
Wow.
Yeah.
The fact that our parents 24. Stayed together for as long as they did, getting married at such a young age, is remarkable.
The fact that my grandparents were married 68.
Yeah, no wonder they barely talk to each other.
Yeah.
That's the way you make it work.
Bro. You think about like how much do they like, I think there's a different level of appreciation that they've probably felt because of less outside distractions, different ways of life, you know, going through tough times with, you know, Great Depression, war. So there's different mentality. So obviously like, you know, this is like the sole person and that's all that was like preached, you know, on the media those days. That's what the American dream was, you know, but now it's shifted tremendously. And
you just have access to more people.
Right.
So you mean you so literally could meet somebody new in 2 seconds.
Yeah. Good old Tinder.
Yeah. I've got some I got a client going through that right now. He's 19 or 20.
Tinder.
Yeah. Like young kids using that. Dude, could you imagine that if we were in college?
Bro, I don't know. Should I discuss this?
No, you don't have to.
Okay.
I'm just saying like
Tinder's a deadly weapon.
Oh, it's awful. especially when it's free to use.
Yeah.
And you're young.
And everybody's there for the same reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's wild.
you really do feel, it's like, I don't know, you feel sorry for them in a way, because it's like,
it's not real.
It's not real. And they think it is.
It shouldn't be that easy. It really takes like the whole, the game out of it.
Right.
You know, like the challenge.
The challenge, yeah. There's less
like
challenge.
hunter gatherer. You know, like a lion. Lion doesn't go out into the fucking wild and like, hey, yeah,
swipes right on Tinder.
Swipe.
Yeah,
no, he's fucking. You know,
he's got to put those balls up.
Let them
hang.
Sniffing around, letting her
see
sniff
these
him.
things.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not that easy. And then once he's done, then he moves on, which is interesting.
Right.
From like a human/mammal.
Right.
You know, do mammals stay with each other?
Yeah,
so they just, keep, reproducing with other females.
Yeah. I've thought about why, like, I'm always thinking about reason, like, can I get another reason why I should do this or I should do that? And like, marriage is one of those, or monogamy is one of those, right?
Yeah.
Where you're like, there's always like reasons, but it's like, one thing I think we were talking about this the other day was like, the respect of your kids drastically changes. If you divorce your wife, or you cheat on your wife, or you're just a man whore of a guy.
Right.
Your child's respect of you changes.
Right.
And it's like
based on what you've taught them and
by your actions.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And yes, you're saying, okay, well, you're trying to appease an immature mind. But what is most important to you? You know, is your relationship with your child important?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm just me. Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
But like, depending on how important it is to you, you choose things that will make that relationship better. And if those decisions are harder, you find a way to make it more feasible.
Right.
I guess, you know?
Yeah, I think,
and that's a real thing, because you've got a son now.
Yeah, I think, what I intend to do, if my son ever sees me, fail or hardship or go against the norm of what I've shown. It's just, hey, I made a mistake, and give him the opportunity to see how I can grow and get better from it, versus like have it weigh you down, get weakened by it.
Yeah,
and like because again, that's kind of like what I experienced.
Yeah, same.
It's like the failures and the support that wasn't there, but said was there, So I saw that, and it's just like really kind of gave me a different definition of what support is,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just, so again, that's what, I intend to do with Asher. Again, when I tell Asher, when, 10 years down the road, when he watches this podcast, explain, the story of how I met his mom and all that, get in, he's got to learn. I'm not ashamed. Like, that's a big thing.
Shame
for your son to see that, your dad's not ashamed to fuck up, make mistakes.
Yeah.
And what is that? What happens after that? Oh, wow, this great opportunity, or he bounced back and this happened from it. Like, so just teaching that, just,
what that shows is like, you're way more committed to expanding than you are to the shame and the guilt.
Got to.
And the way we were raised, it's not necessarily clear on which one you should be more committed to, because it's like, well, if you were more shameful and you felt more guilty, you'd stop.
Right.
And then at a certain point, it's like, you don't know how to stop being guilty or shameful.
Yeah, because for me, it's like, ask Jesus for, forgiveness.
Yeah.
And, your sins will be, wiped
washed
away. But why do I still feel like shit?
Right.
Yeah. Like, am I doing something wrong with my prayers?
Right.
Are they not long enough?
Yeah.
Like, that was never explained.
Right.
because again, I think it's just, understanding as a kid, it wasn't explained. It's more than just a prayer. It's actually like saying that prayer and doing your best to never do it again, or put yourself in that situation to do it again, or understand the consequences that could potentially be.
Yeah.
It was always just like black and white, like, sex before marriage because of this, and this. It's not black and white.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of nuance.
It's a belief system.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you mess up. Like, what do you want to? It's like, for some reason, punishment is like such a, well, they don't know, they didn't learn their lesson yet. Well, let's make them learn it. Let's punish them more.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And at a certain point, it's like they're either going to get it or not. And then like the shame that you put on yourself past a certain point is not beneficial.
Right.
And like sometimes you don't realize that you've gone past that point.
Right.
You're like, no, I need to do that. I need to think of myself as a piece of shit.
Right.
And it's like, but you're not expanding anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Talking about, so my client, it's funny, we'll talk about relationships and stuff. Is that her barking? She's fine. Relationships and how the girls he sees and stuff, it's like, it's so easy. And I'm like, right. And we'll talk about the intimate side of that relationship, of those relationships. And I always he's the opposite of me in college. But since I trained him when he was a teenager and train him now, I have love for a kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I've coached kids. So you build that relationship, and it's like no matter what they do in college or who they become afterwards, you still know who they were as a kid.
Right.
And you support them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then whatever they do, you're like, well, I wouldn't do that because of this, and this, but you're going to find that out.
Mm-hmm.
And, but it's funny to see someone that I was not like, but be like an older brother to them now.
Okay.
Like I would never get up.
Dynamic like?
He's so open to me. Tells me everything. Where if I would have met a kid like him, if I was his age, we would have been like this.
Yeah.
Immediately. But because he respects me as like an older brother, he tells me stuff, and he's willing to actually just listen to me tell my side or my perspective on things.
Right. Well, what was his upbringing like?
He grew up out here in LA.
Okay.
Well-to-do.
Okay.
Very rigid through high school, and then went to college and went loose.
Gotcha. Where'd he go to college?
He's at LMU out here.
Okay.
And so, where he grew up.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I have such a great relationship now, with Courtney.
Yep.
And he knows nothing of that. He's like, hey man, come out with me. We'll pick up girls. Come on. We'll be a wingman. I'm just like, man, if you only knew what I have, you'd be like, damn it. Why would I even ask him to? Right. But he doesn't.
Yeah.
And it's like, he'll never know that until he's personally able to give that to a woman. Mm-hmm. And then that woman is able personally, mature enough to receive it and then reciprocate it.
Yeah. He's got to find
right
that level of depth within him in order to get the depth with another person.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, then you start looking for that type of person.
Yeah. If that's what you want.
Yeah.
For sure. But
yeah.
my question is like, what determines that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are some people...
Priorities.
Yeah.
What your highest good is.
Mm-hmm.
What is highest, what is best in life.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And people, I think most people think that it's one thing, but they haven't thought enough to realize that it's actually something else.
Yeah.
A lot of people are in survival mode, in autopilot from childhood on.
Yeah.
Until they have maybe a death scare, like a tragic death experience or near death experience, or a health scare or something like that. It makes them reframe their reality. So yeah, it's priorities.
Yeah, it is totally priorities.
Like to me, I didn't have as much as I guess, I don't know. I think I was more grateful for a relationship than most people that I was around.
Gotcha.
And I was like, oh, we're dating. Like dating is like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then the more I dated people
who you didn't date like early on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same here.
I dated one person in high school my senior year.
Wasn't allowed.
Same.
Yep.
Same. And so when I got to college, I was like, oh wow, I get to, and everybody else was like I've been dating since it's like,
cool.
Hey, we're just messing around now. Yeah, cool. It's friends with benefits. And you're like,
Hey, where'd that get you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, it's like I prioritized it and then dated a bunch of people who didn't. And then I allowed that to change me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you got to find someone that's, number one, on their own journey and aware that they're on their own journey.
Yeah.
You guys are separate, have their own identity, be confident in that identity and like who you are. And again, just someone that's on, a very similar path. And it's definitely hard to find for sure.
Yeah.
And sometimes, this is when the whole idea of like, what if paths separate down the road and priorities change, then what do you do?
Yeah.
That's where the whole, divorce but are the paths changing for the good? Like, is this person doing something good or is it for themselves?
Yeah.
And same thing with the other side. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, relationships
really
in general.
Yeah, they expose you to yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I have a good little story that actually happened to me recently in relation to like relationships. So, really good friend of mine. I mean, fuck, might as well get it out. I mean, I've already spoken to him about it. So, a good friend of mine from back home. I've known him 25 years.
Yeah,
middle school, best friends, grew up same town. Just childhood friend.
Yeah.
Long story short, we've been in contact, great relationship, but I think our relationship was still based off of high school. It's just the relationship.
And the person you were.
And the person that I was. And yeah, we've developed and grown and, I helped him get into, like different levels of awareness per se. So we were able to have conversations like this. But the depth wasn't there. And I feel like now that just better understanding myself and he's like on his own journey.
She barked. She's fine.
Yeah. He's like on his own, journey and kind of level of awareness. Like he's still kind of like back here. Does that, you understand?
Yeah.
From like a non-egotistical standpoint, he's like back here and how he perceives like the world and how we very much are different and just how he handle like a certain situation. Just, there's a lot of realizations that I had that I chose to look at versus feeling like I got burned for $2,000. So long story short, he was in a bind, this time around last April, going through like some court stuff, wrong place, wrong time. He's a good dude, just fucked up, so he needed to hire a lawyer, help get these charges expunged, blah, blah, blah. Didn't have the money, wasn't working full time, couldn't get a job. So again, best friend, giving heart. All right, I'll loan you the money, $2,000, as long as you promise me that this does not get in between our relationship. That's the last thing I want to happen because fuck money.
Yeah.
Okay. This, how we navigate life together is more important to me than some fucking paper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, we started making, incremental payments every month, but after like month 3, he started dodging me. I'm like, oh, no, please. Maybe he's just going through a rough time. Listen, I get it. Moved back home with mom, going through a rough time in life. Listen, been there some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But, with me, it's like with my friends, me, I'm like always trying to empower, like, hey, change your perspective, encouragement, be there as much as he'll allow me to be there. And, But yeah, he fucking ghosts me, bro, for like months on end. Every time I'd reach out, he's like, I'll get your money. I'm like, I was just reaching out just to check on it. At this point, you know, I'm learning, you know, how to navigate life, friends come and go, etc. What I chose to look at is like, you know, when you loan someone money, just kind of write it off. You might never get it back. Don't have the expectations of ever getting it back. Don't put that divide in between, you know, because it's going to stir up, like, you know, I could have been like, oh, fuck him, like, piece of shit. It was like, but what good is that going to do?
You none.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So fast forward, finally reconnect with him this last week. And, oh, yeah, on the up and up. Things are going good. Hey, glad to hear it, man. Again, I'm just reaching out because see how you're doing, number one. And number two, I loaned you $2,000 and it came out of my business account. So my accountant's kind of wondering what this money's all about, because the last thing I want to do is pay taxes on fucking money that I never even touched, on top of losing out on oh, I already told you I'm going to get you the money. I'm like, okay, so is it going to be, it's just going back and forth. I'm just like, just seeing right through it, like, man, you're still here.
Yeah.
Like, just like humble yourself. And like, again, it was me wanting something, then taking a step back, like, you're not going to get it, Brett. Like, just stop. Just stop. So just straight to the point, matter of fact. But again, it's just interesting just to analyze that scenario and just be like, yeah, friendships come and go. It doesn't matter the length of time. You know, people outgrow people in different perspectives. All that I wanted from him ultimately was just communicate with me. If you can't make the payments, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just communicate, be vulnerable with me.
Well,
open up.
Yeah. And
fuck your ego.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just kind of reassures me, like, you know, our mentality is different. If I was in his situation, I would have damn well found a fucking job that I probably didn't like, which I've done before in the past. You know, like, I've worked server jobs, I've worked this job just to make money and make ends meet because I had to.
Yeah.
You know, so again, it's just like a mentality thing, and just kind of seeing like his character with it all, and just seeing how he handled this situation. And honestly, what, you know, I got on the phone and all he talked about it was himself. Like, damn, not once did he, because he knows like the grind. He's, you know, he's helped me along the way, like being like supportive, like through the grind of life. And it's almost, there was like a jealousy factor. I was like, Jesus, really? I just felt it because all he did was talk about himself. I'm like, bro, you don't have to put up this persona. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, I know you want to be perceived as doing good, but I just still feel like he's hurting and hasn't really, quote unquote, figured it out. Like, he's chasing the wrong things, you know? So, but anyways, that's my little spiel about relationships and, you know, again, just how to easily navigate through relationships. Again, I could have been upset, got butthurt, like, damn, 25 years, man, fucking burn me, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Like, hey, man, wish him the best. I hope he, you know, does figure it out. I hope he does come to a sense of, you know, self-love, you know, inner peace. I wish that for everybody, you know?
Yeah, because that just makes friendships better.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I mean, every relationship.
Exactly.
We were talking on the drive here, like, my relationship with my dog is better.
Right.
Like, it's like...
Right. Now, I remember after my first experience, like, coming home and like seeing my son's mom for the first time, I just started bursting into tears. She's like, "You okay?" Again, her and I, we have a great amicable relationship. Yeah. Blessing. She's like, "Yeah, I just want to let you know I just appreciate you." I was just like feeling it. Because again, like, you know, we've had our trials and tribulations between each other, but I haven't lost sight of what you've brought forth into my life, what you mean in my life, and that's what I choose to focus on. Right. Not all the other bullshit. So yeah, obviously finding appreciation in, you know, each individual, even like the individuals that you don't like, just like, what can I learn from this individual about myself? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hard question to ask. but man, you learn so much.
I'm telling you, it becomes so much fucking easier, dude.
Yeah.
It really is, just to navigate that thought process.
Yeah.
Just like, it's almost like systematic now, Cody.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the code's being more downloaded.
All I see is the code.
All I see is the code. I saw the code.
That's right. You did see some code.
What is the code, man? What is the code?
I mean, what was it like? Was it green like the Matrix code? Okay.
Yeah.
So it was referential to that, maybe.
Yeah. And then there's that point where I was in like my avatar.
Yeah, that's the thing that like confuses me is that the avatar. Maybe you could talk about it a little bit.
It's really hard to explain. I haven't really dove in deep, again, since that I've been meditating and kind of and reading the transcript and kind of like going back to certain points and like, what does that mean? But I haven't really dove in deep, but I just feel like the notion of like, are we like a program? Are we like, it's hard to dive in deep. It's hard to dive in deep. But again, like when I was in that journey, I was on like a spaceship, like just flying through space in like my avatar, just kind of like floating away. So I don't know what I can get out of that, but what I got out of it was, it's so much bigger than what we're experiencing right now.
What is bigger? Reality?
Reality.
Yeah.
Like life after death. Like what does that mean?
Yeah. It's too big of a mystery for you to like get stressed over.
Yeah, but what I feel like a massive mindset mentality shift is I feel like my fear has been shedded, and almost like fearing death is not even a thing.
Yeah.
Like absolute certainty that it's going to be okay. Like whatever happens.
Yeah.
So does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, the avatar thing always confused me a little, but yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But I do feel like life can be looked at as like a game, finding like loopholes and what?
Dude, so I was walking, I hit the vape before my workout.
Yeah.
And I was walking and I was like, cause I like to hit cannabis when I do cardio, because I could just go through my thoughts and listen to good music and get myself feeling good again. I was like, Cody, why do you keep trying to figure this out? Like figure the money game out, figure this out and find like the most efficient way of doing something. And I'm like, I think I'm a criminal, and I was never able to accept that. Like criminal mind.
Okay.
Like criminally minded.
Explain.
You know how criminals who act on their criminal thoughts,
right,
will find loopholes. Like, catch, what is it? What is that? Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
Like he was a genius, but he was always trying to find loopholes and stuff.
Right.
And I was like, damn, am I a criminal?
Right.
That just wants to boost this. Like I'm going to boost this car.
Okay.
And it's like I had this like metaphor or analogy. I was thinking of like, oh, I see all these cars. Well, how do I get a car? I got to work. I got to do this. Got to get a job. Why don't I just boost it?
Right.
And I was like, yeah, but I never did. I never allowed myself to go down the criminal route.
Okay. Interesting.
But I have the same mindset of like, oh, okay, well, how do I do this? How do I get it when I don't have the means to get it?
Right.
It's
good that you're not a criminal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, hey, maybe I would have been a good criminal.
Yeah, probably.
Until I got caught.
That's that stoic way about you. You never know what to get from Cody,
That's funny.
You never know what you're going to get.
Isn't it funny, like getting opinions?
Asshole.
Getting opinions about you that you don't. You're like, oh, really? You think that way?
Yeah, that's why when I asked you, like, what was your first, like, impression of me?
Yeah.
When you first saw me. Because, again.
Well, the juiced, jacked.
I was juiced out of my skull?
Well, no, I mean, not out of your skull, but like, whenever you see somebody in an Equinox, working for an Equinox, in a tight blue t-shirt that says train, and they're yoked, there's a certain few thoughts that like, well, he's probably this way.
Yeah.
He's probably into himself, doesn't think much. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just like when people look at me, they're like, this guy's an asshole.
Right. Right.
Like that. And you're not going to prove to me otherwise.
Right. What I find like fun is kind of dissolving that illusion that people have of me through conversation.
That's the only way.
Like people like actually getting to know me, like, damn, like he's actually like pretty chill. He's not the prototypical like jack douchebag guy, and he actually has like a personality and like more depth to him.
Right.
Like I think
because there is more depth.
There's so much more depth. You know?
If there wasn't depth, you wouldn't be trying to like look at me differently.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I forgot that's what LA is riddled with.
Right.
I was literally on my little hike today and coming down Laurel Canyon, like overlooking the valley. Some like rapper dude in some Rolls Royce, like
was he making a video
with the doors open? Yeah,
okay.
With the doors open, like cool video, creativity, blah blah blah. But I'm like, the whole time I'm thinking, what's his level of depth like?
Yeah, I would love to talk to that person and see.
Yeah, like what is he all about?
Yeah,
what is he lacking in his life?
Yeah,
in order to make it this far, and go to these extremes too.
Yeah,
on a Thursday to make some video, and probably with a rented car.
Yeah,
like you're just painting this persona to make yourself feel better.
Right,
like lacking that level of fulfillment.
Right.
Which essentially probably, goes back to, childhood and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
So, again, not knocking how people approach, because, again, the whole putting up this big image, is marketing. I get that. But it doesn't resonate well with me, because it goes against the very grain of who I am. Like, I can't fake being someone that I'm not.
Yeah.
It feels so uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, when you have experiences like what you and I have had in life with good relationships, you got a great relationship with your son, you got great parents, you got a good brother. It's like your examples of other good stuff are really good. And it's like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't have that. And they're like, nah, I don't like my relationship with my parents is shit.
Right.
The Rolls Royce, the girls, the chains, that's what I want. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was talking to my client, the young one, and he showed me this text where this girl was like, this is the best sex I've ever had. Without our quarterly hookups, I don't know what I'd be, or something. And I'm just like, how long? And he's like, oh, I can go forever. And I'm like, how many times does she orgasm? And he's like, what? And I'm like, man, have you ever made love to a woman? And he was like, well, I mean, I'm like, you don't know. And it's almost comical.
Right.
At this point where, it's like, because you remember being at that level of knowledge of what a woman is and what that relationship is.
And doing your best to hold your nut as long as possible.
Yeah.
But yes, continue.
You're just thinking in out.
No, focus.
Yeah, right.
Or do I jerk off beforehand so I can last longer?
Yeah.
Sometimes that helps, but anyways.
Exactly. So that just the level of awareness is just so it's not hardly even there.
Yeah.
But it's like, if that was my son, right? It seems like we treat our sons different than we would treat another kid.
Right.
That's not ours, right? We take it more personal that our kids like, come on, dude, like why can't, right?
It's like a direct representation of you.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, I must have failed or something like that.
Right.
And maybe that's true, right? But I've trained so many young guys, in wrestling and personal training that I can do that with those people, and I'm hoping that it translates over to my kids.
Okay.
When I have kids one day.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's something that naturally happens.
But I've got to remember that these conversations with these kids, it's like they don't know.
They don't know.
They don't know of anything better to compare it to.
Yeah. What have they been taught? What sex is all about?
Yeah.
Besides what they see on social media, pornography, like the level of depth.
Right.
It's sometimes can be like a fucking out of body spiritual experience.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, that, I mean, you think about what you're doing, intercourse, ejaculation, you're expanding.
Yeah, you are.
You know? Very, very powerful experience.
Right.
You know, obviously from a dopamine rush all the way to, you know, putting DNA into another human being to essentially create life.
Right.
Create that's, you know, or have your spirit fill that avatar.
Yeah.
That's the crazy notion of like life, the spirit. When does that spirit, you know, enter that person?
Right.
You know, where does that spirit come from?
Right.
It's energy.
Yeah.
Right? Two energies.
Yeah. What forms that consciousness? Yeah.
Yeah. I think about that too.
Yeah.
Not while I'm having sex, though.
Consciousness.
Oh, fucking
Crazy.
consciousness, bro.
Dude, fucking consciousness. When did you say that?
I called you up right after the experience.
That's right.
I could only describe
Like,
the
dude,
experience. Fucking consciousness,
consciousness,
bro.
man.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah, I was telling and so like back to the client, man, it's funny because what I try to do and what I get to do as like a big brother is kind of like just say, hey, try dating a girl for a month. See how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
But well, I don't want to do that. I can get all these girls. I'm like,
is that where it's at now? It's
try
just
a
like
month.
friends with benefits kind of mentality.
Yeah.
Wow. No commitment. No commitment. Think about that notion, bro.
Yeah.
No commitment in a relationship. How can you commit to other things in your life?
Well,
it trickles down.
Yeah, yeah. And I think a lot of it has to do with, as it always is, parents, childhood, you know. And like you remember, like when the ultimate rush is is a new woman, right?
Yep.
But the payoff, not always there.
Right.
Not always there.
Right.
Hardly ever. Right?
For sure.
But it does fill you with confidence. And so there's a confidence issue.
Right.
Right? You know, because if you're really confident and you know that, well, I want this, that, you know, like I don't need to keep validating myself or whatnot.
For sure.
You don't have to do it. But yeah, like those are the things I tell them. Hey, man, try dating for a month. You know, see what happens. Try not to have sex with a girl, but continue to go out with her and hang out.
Right.
And he takes it on as like a challenge in a way.
That's wild, dude.
But I told him, I was like, I know that you're not, like, you have to go through this.
Right.
Like, apparently, you specifically have to go through this because you can't wrap your head around how something else could be even more beneficial to you.
Yeah, and ultimately fulfilling.
Yeah. And, you know, when it's hard to become more aware of yourself, trying to become aware of someone else is like the only other move you have, right? And then hopefully you can kind of like, okay, use that you just used on them on yourself a little bit.
Right.
And then be able to give it back. And then just that bouncing back and forth is almost like if you looked at your relationships at 16, 17, 18, it's like you're kind of like growing in the ability to like be aware of someone else because being aware of them and then being aware of you exposes you.
Right.
And so that makes you aware of you. You know what I mean? And being seen by someone else.
No, for sure. I mean, just kind of, it's funny that you mentioned the whole looking back at like past relationships and, you know, girls that I've dated and what does that look like? And the same like reoccurring thing is like, they're all just very similar. And why is that? Okay. That has to direct, you know, representation of who I am, you know, it's like seeking something that I've been given, you know, my whole entire life, you know, my mom, that femininity, you know, the care and then all of a sudden kind of losing that for a time period and kind of like rediscovering, like looking for that in someone else when I should have found it in myself and not anybody else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
So, you know, just looking back, you know, with my mom and, you know, what happened with that, and kind of rediscovering that there was like some form of like abandonment stuff going on. And, you know, why did I stick around in these relationships as long as I did? You know, it was that abandonment, like not wanting to go back to that past experience that I felt, you know, with my mother, and during that time of feeling abandoned, and her and my dad breaking up and blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? You know, so that's how I deterred away from, you know, that situation, by just sticking in it and justifying actions, not even knowingly,
right?
You know,
completely unaware.
So unaware.
Yeah.
So, but it's good to be aware of that now.
Yeah.
That I can, hey, take a step back and look at my actions and my thought process, and like, you know, am I like, you know, too attached to the idea of this person? Is this fulfilling in the areas where I need it to be fulfilling in my life at this current point in my life? So that's kind of how I've been looking at, you know, relationships as of lately.
Yeah.
Just with that level of, you know, awareness with dealing with the whole mom. And what's interesting, just very interesting.
Yeah.
And again, not dealing with that head on when it first initially happened. What did I do? I suppressed it. I sought out, you know, other relationships, you know, medicated myself with, you know, an SSRI. Fucking terrible idea.
You were on that for how long?
5 years.
5 years.
I described that length, you know, of 5 years as like this cloud over me. Cloud of being not emotional. Emotions suppressed. Flatline. I remember my uncle, my only uncle, my dad's brother, like passing away early from cancer, and I was super close to him, but I was just like numb, like no emotion. So definitely not the way to go about like dealing with like, you know, traumatic stuff. You know, I should have, you know, gotten therapy, should have talked about it more, but I didn't really have anybody really to talk to at the time, because my dad was kind of shell-shocked from everything, kind of dealing with it.
Yeah.
Not knowing how to deal with it, for sure. And, you know, mom was, you know, long gone, and brother had his own wife and relationship. So what did I do? I confided in another woman.
Yeah.
Confided in another woman, Cody.
Dude, I mean, that's like respectful. I mean, that's respectable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
I just see that's respectable to confide in another woman. Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, the feminine, a woman, for what a woman provides, you can't get it from a man. Can't get it from your father. You know, there's something that motherly support is what makes a woman.
Right.
And that relationship is so important. Just like the relationship you have with your dad, but it's just different.
Right. But again, confiding in a woman that you should be confiding in, one
right.
that's aware of what's actually going on with me.
Yeah.
So did I express all this past stuff with my mom with those current relationships? No. Yeah. Should have, so that can give them the awareness, you know, being vulnerable in your relationship, you know, expressing past situations like, hey, this is what's kind of quote unquote triggering for me. You know, this is an insecurity of mine that I've dealt with in the past. Hey, just be aware of that for me. You know, I would really appreciate it if you could respect that. You know, if you put yourself in a situation that, you know, I've, you know, experienced something, some kind of traumatic or insecurity, you know, just be aware, you know, if you could do this, this, and this. So that's where communication is key. Yeah. Communication is key.
Yeah. And for us men, it's very hard to do because we feel like we're going to lose that strength, that power, and we'll appear vulnerable. And to a lesser woman, that is a problem.
Right.
To a woman that can't hold space for a man emotionally.
Because she can't hold space for herself.
Well, she just expects you to.
Yeah.
Like the man, like a lot of women think of a man as like, oh, you support me emotionally.
Right.
I get to act out.
Yep.
You know? And men are like, well, I need her in my life. Like, I need her. Right. You know? So you don't know how to, you know, you weren't really taught to express yourself emotionally.
Yep.
And then now you're stuck in a relationship where you can't work on it.
Mm-hmm. How do you work on it? What does that look like?
You don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just repeating habits and infidelity and
yeah.
Like
now that I know so much about myself and what makes me do things, what makes people do things, if someone's listening to this and they've been cheated on, it's not because of you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's not you. It's that other person.
Yep.
That they're dealing with something, right? And either they didn't make the decision to get out of the relationship with you,
mm-hmm.
or it's something else from what they've dealt with in the past that, like, when they get anxious or when they get depressed or whatever, that's their go-to to make them feel better, and they don't know how to control that, and they don't know how to become more aware of it. They haven't gone to therapy, blah, 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 blah. I know that now.
Yeah.
But like back in the day, I'm like, how dare you?
Yeah, exactly. No, for me, I made up the story. Oh, they just couldn't handle everything that I brought to the table.
Yeah.
You know, they just can't handle me. I'm a high value male. I'm worth it.
Yeah.
You know? So that's how I justified it.
Right. I bet that was a shock, though, like, you know, when things happen the way they happened in your relationship, where you were on the defensive.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there.
Yeah.
And when you're forgiven in that moment, you're like, oh, man. Like, that's huge.
Yeah.
Like, you were big enough to forgive me.
Right.
I don't know if I'd have forgiven you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? And like, damn, this person is unique. This person, it's the power of forgiving somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Letting go.
Letting go. Opening up to letting go while we expand.
And while we forgive at the same time.
This title's getting longer the longer we go.
So long.
Dude.
My gosh.
Well, what's funny is, so we've got this, we're trainers, and then you moved to Baltimore, and you started a business.
I moved to the DMV area.
Yeah.
I'm not, whenever, it's funny, whenever Jeff... You know, hey, this is my friend Brett. He lives in Baltimore. I'm like, I do not live in Baltimore. Again, Baltimore just has such a negative connotation.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
Right.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. Moved back to the DMV area.
Yeah. DMV. So and then you started a business, and then we just, you know, I've been out here still training and working on my other stuff, and got this podcast going, and but we just stayed in contact.
Yeah.
Because we're just supportive.
Yeah.
Like, we're just two supportive people.
Right.
I feel like.
No, without a doubt. I mean, massive amounts of support. It's just amazing what, you know, the relationship that we've been able to, you know, maintain and grow, expand, whatever you want to call it, just over the past, you know, 3 years of just talking on the phone, FaceTiming, texting, whatever it may be. I mean, it's truly remarkable. It makes me, you know, think about, like, damn, what if we, like, live closer together?
Yeah.
Like, damn, that's fucking badass.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. So, but here we are.
Yeah. Yeah, I think sometimes, like, you know, you mentioned your son's going to watch this podcast.
Yeah, I think about that.
And I think one of the things that made me go all in on the podcast, or more in than I was at the time, I was thinking about what an awesome thing that Joe Rogan has given to his kids.
Mm.
You know, if you ever think, I want to see my dad have a ball.
Right.
You go watch Joe Rogan and Joey Diaz talking,
right.
And you're like, and they're just cutting up, laughing. Oh, God.
Yeah.
If I had that of my dad's passed, so it's like, that would be so awesome to see him having fun, hanging out with a friend, goofing off, you know.
Like, what was dad like back then?
Yeah.
What was dad like back then? No, for sure. And I mean, I feel like it's a good reference, just for ourselves, you know, like thinking back, like our first, like, you know, unofficial but official podcast we did at Jeff's house. You know, what if we look back at those files and just analyze, like, how did we talk? What did we talk about?
Yeah.
That's what I like to do with like looking at pictures or looking at videos, just on like my spare time, just like.
But yeah, like our first, conversation, we tried to do a podcast 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about that in a while, but
yeah,
things I talked about back then, it was almost like I think I would annoy the shit out of myself now if I met myself from
right. Well, you've
4
gotten
years
better
ago.
at doing them. I mean, you've been practicing, you're doing them, and again, you're perfecting your craft of, holding and commanding a conversation.
Right.
And basically like an interview / storytelling /
yeah,
whatever you want to call it. That's
Yeah.
kind of like the beautiful thing of like a podcast. It can just go in so many different directions.
Right. But I'm just thinking about like what I was even able to talk about back then.
Right.
Like I couldn't really, the awareness that I have now of me and how I relate to my family and everybody, it's like it's changed or it's expanded
right
massively. Like
right.
Just becoming aware of like, why do I act that? Why do I do that? Oh, this, and this. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So it almost kind of gives you more of a calm in your life.
Do you feel like it's like compounded over time? Like I feel like my expansion rate, how can I describe this? Like there's like just so much more depth and it's going deeper and deeper at a quicker rate.
Yes.
Again, obviously time is relative.
Yeah.
But from a time standpoint, like, damn, are we going to increase our productivity by this time next year? Like double it?
Yeah.
Just on certain realizations.
Right.
Like.
It's almost been 2 years since my first MDMA session.
Oh, that's right.
Right. So I
It's
remember.
been 2 years. Well, how long since your last one?
I think I did the last one in like August of that year. The first one in March.
2021. So the same year I did it, but you did it.
Yeah. I did all three of mine before your first one.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Damn, so it's been a year and a half for you.
Yeah. Well, one more month and it'll have been 2 years for the first session.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like that first year, I just would keep talking, like saying this to Courtney. I've changed so much in a year.
Yeah.
And it's almost like that change thing. Like, what does change mean?
Yeah,
It's like perspective.
Yeah.
Awareness.
Yeah.
That's what changed. But when your lens changes, it's kind of like being having like 20, like what is it? What's worse vision? 50-50 or 50-20 or whatever?
All I know is 2020 is the best.
Yeah, not having that, right?
Right.
And then you put on glasses for the first time. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
wow, those are two different bottles. Like those are made out of different things.
Yep.
Instead of like, oh, they're just bottles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's kind of like, I was like, oh, shoot, that's what changed.
Right.
Not like I'm some, sage guru thing that like a lot of people will come out open and
the psychonauts.
after they've let go.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they say. And it's like, no, it's just like you become more aware of yourself if you're humble. Hey, off. My God. Really, dog?
So good. Good entertainment. No, for sure. I mean, I think, back to the journey, the journey just, I feel like compounds things and you just making room for more per se.
Yeah. Making room for more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. You don't realize like your own depths.
Yeah. Like I'm just getting started. Like, bro, we're 35 years old.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if our parents had this level of awareness at 35?
Yeah.
And directly for me, like what excites me and encourages me to continue with, what I'm doing. Just letting that directly translate into Asher's life. Like if Asher has like a level of mentality at 18 that, this level of like inner peace possibly might happen. I think there's definitely life experiences that he has to like go through for sure.
Yeah.
But him being able to, learn from my experiences and me being able to, again, show him, translate to him, and just have that open communication with him. I talk to him like a human. I don't talk down to him. I don't, I just remember who I'm talking to. Just always being aware of the words that I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because I remember back, like as a kid, certain things that your parents would say, just so limiting.
Yeah.
So limiting. It's like, why? Why limit? So.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like just honest conversation.
Yep.
And not dumbing it down. Because you always get upset at your parents for like saying don't do something for for not a good reason.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then, it's like, yes, that's great. But then also you got to teach a child to just respect authority.
Right.
Respect me because of how much I care about you and how much I do for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing in itself.
Another depth to it, for sure.
And I feel like a lot of people out here talk to their kids like adults probably.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no respect for authority.
Right.
There's no real gratitude for their parents.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, dang, how does that? I would only know if I was in the family,
right.
But like, I think like where we're at right now in where you're at with Asher, I don't think that's going to be that big of a problem.
Yeah. I think it's just going to be a nice, smooth transition.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. You're going to have bumps. Like I think of like having a kid and I'm like, all right, there's going to be moments where he's going to try to check me.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, yeah, I'm literally going to laugh.
Yep.
Because I love him so much.
They're always testing you whether you're aware of it or not.
Yeah.
Whether they're aware of it or not either. It's kind of like, is that like an instinctual thing that a child has?
Yeah.
As far as like, survival, a survival tactic to test their parent, see what they can get away with.
I think it's just your ego growing. You're developing an ego, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, well, why do they get to tell me what to do? I just want to play with my toys.
Right.
Well, that's not bad.
Right.
I'm going to play with my toys. I'm going to find a way to play with my toys. Mm-hmm. And then you realize, oh, shit, you shouldn't have played over here because the dog was loose. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then that's how you learn that lesson. Your face gets mauled off.
Yeah, happened to me. Not
really?
My face, but my hand.
Oh,
Don't reach your hand over the fence. The German Shepherd.
Yeah.
No, he's fine. He likes me. I pet him when the owner's around, but when the owner wasn't around,
right,
should have listened.
Yeah.
And then I heard about it. See, you got to listen to mom and dad. See what happens when you don't follow instructions, Brett? And the belt came out.
Ah, the old belt.
The fucking belt, man. On top of, I had like a fucking bite mark on my hand. I'm going to get a spanking too. Right. God damn. Come on, Dad. So,
wore your ass out.
Exactly. But it always kind of confused me.
Oh, it's so confusing.
Because, the spanking would happen and then, without fail, Dad would, all right, pull your pants up, put his belt back on, sit me on the side of the bed. You understand why I just did what I did, right? I'm like, yes, because you love me. Is that what love is?
Dude.
I love and care about you and I want what's best for you. Okay, sounds good.
Thanks.
So
do it again.
Spanking my hiney.
Yeah.
After a while, man, you start like developing like a tolerance.
Yeah.
And I started like kind of like, all right, I'm fucking strong.
Yeah.
And when I didn't I swear I got to the point where I didn't make a noise. I'm like, all right, and I walk. I'm like, all right, we done. Gotta hit a little harder, Dad, but you don't have to.
Yeah,
I remember thinking that in my head.
Exactly.
I got this, man. I'm gonna fucking do it again. Fuck you. That's
hilarious. So, but it's funny. Your dad said the same thing my dad did. There must have been a dad convention.
Yeah, exactly.
Where all our dads got together. And I was like, so the only way you're going to be able to do this, guys, is if afterwards you sit them on the bed.
Sit them on the bed.
And you say it's because you love them more than they'll imagine. Like what they'll ever understand.
Yep.
That's it, guys. Okay, cool.
All right.
That's a pretty simple script. I think we all got it.
10 years later.
Yeah.
Rebellion.
Yeah.
Rebel.
Yeah, it's wild. Like that spanking is so drastic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's very drastic.
Like that is a drastic thing.
Honestly, I can't even imagine having Asher pull his pants down.
Me either, dude.
And spanking my kid.
Yeah.
Like I think my looks and my tone and my demeanor is more powerful and more understood than fucking laying your hand on your kid.
Yeah.
There's no need for it.
Yeah.
So that's just my belief.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I get the intention behind it. You
Yeah.
know, all good intentions,
For sure.
whatever, keeps you, asleep at night.
but I think a lot of people, I mean, your dad, my dad could have not spanked us.
Right. Yeah,
we
exactly.
feared the shit out of him, right?
Right. Yeah.
And, but I think a lot of dads probably don't have the character to have their kid respect them or be fearful of them in a respectful way.
Right.
Right. And so they probably have to do that.
Right.
Or they feel like they do.
Mm-hmm.
And then that makes it worse.
No, for sure. For sure.
But yeah, I can't think of anything that would make me pull my kid's pants down or tell him to pull his pants down. I'm just like, oh man. I would just put myself in that situation immediately and be like, so we're not going to do this. We're going to, let's go get some ice cream.
Exactly. Exactly. No, I mean,
there's other ways to
teach your kid.
Yeah.
For sure. Again, he knows my tones. He knows my facial expressions. So, and again, like, he understands the expectations because it's been communicated. And so helps me stay present because I got to be present every time he's around kind of thing, Yeah. Got to keep showing up for myself so I can show up for him.
Yeah.
That's definitely the game changer as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's got to be another level.
Yeah, it's definitely another level. Especially, like I said, I've been rocking and rolling, the whole quote unquote single dad life. Like I said, great co-parenting, but I've still been a single dad. I never got remarried or had like a long-term relationship that the person like helped out, So been rocking that shit since he was like 4 months old.
Right.
Whew, what a ride.
Dude, it's got to be.
What a ride. Couch surfing.
Yeah.
Freaking just hustling.
Microdosing, jumping in the pool, getting on a motorcycle, coming to work.
That was later down the road. I feel like that phase of my life was like, I made it this far. I have this opportunity. It presented itself. I've been waiting for an opportunity for something different.
Yeah.
It was that opportunity for me to act on something and build confidence. Like, doing something that I sought out to do. It was always like, ever since I can remember, like, 18, 19, like moving out west. What is that? That was ultimately what I wanted. Did I really want to go to nursing school? Not really. But it was, I don't know why it was always in my head, get into modeling. I think it was because I remember my parents were like so against like modeling but for so long, they're like, oh, you're such a good looking kid, but you got to be humble. So it's kind of like, you say I'm good looking, but they never taught me how to like leverage like the good looks. For so long, I was ashamed in some sense of being good looking. It's almost like a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because, usually, in my mom, in her head, it was like, good looking people are mostly assholes that she's probably dealt with.
Right.
Doesn't want her son to turn out to be an asshole.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's just funny looking at it that way.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the single dad life, it was, trials and tribulations, but wouldn't change it for anything, man.
Right.
Which is crazy to, talking about, making videos, I still have a video of him being born,
right.
PG version.
Yeah.
But talk about an experience. Can you imagine watching a video of you being born?
Oh, dude.
Isn't that like Asher, if he wants, when he's, can you imagine? Like, whoa, talk about fucking surreal.
Yeah, insane. The respect you'd have for your mom.
Yeah.
Seeing her vagina just explode.
Right.
With your head.
Right. For sure.
You'd be like, oh my God.
Yep.
But yeah, so anyways, after that little break, we're just talking about kids, and I know, dude, that there's going to be not a change. maybe a change in me. I mean, you know more about having a kid than me, but just another layer of who I am is going to kind of, I'm going to either accept assuming it, right? Or I'm going to shun it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I know that when that happens, when I have a kid, I will have to expand.
Have to.
Yeah.
And it's I can't imagine not expanding. I can't imagine not embracing that child, you know?
Right.
You know, just thinking about all the fatherless children out there. I thought never crossed my mind, you know? Again, there's definitely rough moments of like, you know, woe is me, like how do I get myself, you know, just rough times, you know, rough ways of thinking. You never think you'd, you know, think about those things because that's your fucking kid. But looking back at it now, there's like, that just kind of shows like the level of like, you know, quote unquote self-inflicted pain that I was put on myself, you know, not really owning my decision.
Right.
Or, you know, my choice. So, but eventually I figured it out. It out. I mean, the beautiful thing about, you know, being a single dad is that has directly translated into other aspects of my life is like learning how to turn a difficult situation into an empowering one. Like I literally leveraged the shit out of having a kid and being a single dad.
Yeah.
Like, because as soon as I fucking saw that head come out, I was like, all these thoughts. I remember the thoughts, man, as if it was yesterday. I was just like, I better be a part of this kid's life. Like, I don't want to have the relationship that I had with, like 9 to 5. My dad worked, you know, overtime. I want to be a part of this kid's life. It's going to be different. I remember having this, like, where the fuck is this coming from? Like, you know, again, and that's having like a, you know, psychedelic experience has been, you know, comparative to having a kid, you know, experiencing that level of love you have for a kid.
Yeah.
So yeah, just learning how to leverage love and that kind of energy, you know, behind that, just into every other aspect of my life, you know, just super deep, you know, like I could have been like so disastrous. I could have went, who knows, dude? Like I'm talking about fucking depressed as fuck, bro. Like I remember drinking for no damn reason, you know. Yeah, it's fucking crazy times, dude.
Yeah.
Definitely smoking too much weed for the wrong reason.
See that 3 times fast. Yeah. It's hard.
You know, just.
But it was all due to the situation that you were in, that you put yourself in, right?
Yeah.
And you couldn't make a change with, like you literally could not change that situation because you felt like you had no voice?
My ex-wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I turned into, lack of a better word, like a puppy dog.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I come from like a blue collar family. She was white collar, intermix. Mm-hmm. Damn, living the good life. Got comfortable. They started paying for stuff. I quit my job. They supported me with training to take the PCAP, to go to pharmacy school, help me out. Again, I got comfortable.
Oh, wow.
So again, and I saw it as them supporting me.
Right.
Okay. So
like you deserved it, or
like, wow, yeah, I do deserve this.
Or entitled
like,
to it, or
entitled to it. And I like just getting comfortable and, yeah, this is the good life. Okay. What do they want? Okay, cool. I'll do that. Nah, man, I've, you know, I'm born and raised to fucking be in the trenches kind of thing, mentality. Not saying that's
right,
but it's a different mentality.
Yeah.
So just finding appreciation in like the hard work and not letting it come easy. You know, for me, like how I deal with Asher and, you know, finances, man, I'm going to get creative, you know, fucking hire him.
Yeah.
You know what Grant does? That's a brilliant idea, dude. Freaking have an LLC, set up an LLC. Whether it's, you know, hire him through the LLC, whether it's a real estate or however you want to have it. He does certain things. He's going to work for it. He's not going to I'm not going to be like, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
that's excites me. If he's interested, like teach him about business.
Yeah.
You know, like,
I mean, I don't, that's the thing, dude. I don't know a kid who doesn't want to learn how to make money.
He sees what that,
unless he doesn't like who his father is.
Very true. Very true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if my dad would have told me anything like around money, I would have done it.
Right.
Like if because I admired him too much to be like, nah.
Yeah.
That doesn't even make sense to me.
Yeah.
You know, but to a lot of kids, like when I talk to them as adults now, it's kids that grew up, let their skin get loose or whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, I talk to them and they're like, well, I was like, your father was in real estate. Why didn't you go into real estate? Why didn't you look in it?
Yeah.
I didn't want to do what my father does.
I remember. Yeah.
And you're like, oh, there's something there between them I don't know.
Right.
But there's some type of discrepancy.
It's like, yeah, his outlook of money is very skewed.
Yeah.
It's almost like he lost the relationship with his dad because of money.
Yeah.
So why go down that path?
Yeah.
I don't, you know, so.
No, 100%.
You know, so that's why, like, for me, like with Asher, it's like, you know, show him how to work hard, show him this, you know, invest in him. So, but yeah, basically have him work. Again, I've been working since I'm, you know, like 14 years old. So,
yeah.
And he remembers like very vividly, you know, where we came from. Like he remembers certain areas like, oh, Dad, remember the house burned down?
Yeah.
He remembers that. You know, he was like 3-4 years old. Not even that.
Yeah.
I think he's seen pictures, and I remind him, hey, he used to sleep in the crib, right next to me, single studio. So
that's nice.
It's not hasn't always been easy, Asher. You know, you gotta just instill that at an early age. So
yeah,
and just getting him involved.
Yeah,
you know, just getting him involved. And again, he hilarious, man. I don't know if I told you this, but the other day, a couple months back, we were talking and he came in and we were talking about like employees going home early and who gets to make that decision. And he's like, yeah, my dad does because he's the boss and all you guys are his employees. I'm like, what about grandpa's? And grandpa's a partner, but he's still not the boss. That's how he
just absorbs everything you talk about.
Everything, dude.
Yeah.
He's a sponge. That's why I'm very, very aware of what I talk about in relation to work. Like I let my dad know, like, Dad, we shouldn't be talking about fucking dope fiends and blah, blah, blah. So it's always something going on, man. It's a tough business, man. I just checked my phone and my director of operations, hey, just a heads up, we need to talk tomorrow, you know. Yeah. Police involved, you know, so. Right. But no, and again, being in this, you know, business, Asher sees his father as a servant. It's interesting. Again, another from his mouth, you know, he portrays me and sees me as, you know, a business owner and a guy that helps people. Whoa.
Yeah.
My dad helps people? That's what he does for a living? Damn.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Doing something, right?
Yeah.
You know, so.
Wow.
You know, it's a good feeling for sure.
It's got to be.
Tremendous.
Yeah, tremendous. Fucking phenomenal. Fucking consciousness.
Again, man, I mean, the feeling of having your son, you know, look up to you and respect you.
Yeah.
And feel safe with you.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, you know. There's always got to feel safe.
Yeah.
So it's funny. I had that with my dad for sure. But it wasn't as in depth as it is with me and Asher.
Yeah.
But the beautiful thing about it, I've said this to you before, Asher has made me a better son.
Right.
You know?
Isn't that wild, dude?
Like,
that's crazy.
Like it's like, you know, what would it, you know, yeah, it's a deep one.
Yeah.
Asher has made me a better son. It's like, how would I want my father to handle this situation with me if I was young?
Wow.
Bam! You know what I'm saying? Like, this is how I'm gonna handle it. I'm gonna break that fucking cycle, man. That bullshit cycle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I get excited about, you know, with like the future.
Yeah.
It's like, how's Asher gonna be? You know, what a kid he's grown into. So it's amazing when you know, invest that time and that love, that energy, just just getting it back.
Yeah.
And that's what I like, I think the overall topic of this whole podcast is like, what do we value?
Yeah.
It's like, I value helping people.
Yeah. Well, I know that is true because I knew you when you were sleeping on a couch.
Uh-huh.
And I know you now as a business owner.
Yeah, man.
Taking care of people's lives. Like, hey.
It's a big responsibility.
Not my camera.
I mean, bro,
But what I was going to say about you is like, you haven't changed in a negative way.
Yeah.
Like if somebody's watching this podcast and thinking like, well, what does this fucking guy think he's all happy about life and hopeful and shit. I was like, well, I've seen him at the very lows, living out here, missing your son, but feeling like you had to do this and find an opportunity out here for your son to have a better life. You had to pursue opportunities that you had,
Yeah.
and you went after it, and you're out here, and then you go home. And I remember the conversation at the gym where you asked me, do you think I should go back?
Yeah.
And everybody was telling you,
no.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. I'm not. Yeah.
T-Bone. I knew it.
What? No, bro. You got a phenomenal opportunity here, bro. I mean, I'm like, I don't think you're understanding the opportunity that I'm being presented.
But no one did, dude. No one did. I don't understand why.
I don't know.
I saw it immediately, and I was like, oh, dude. If
cool.
I had that opportunity right now in the situation that you had, I was like, I would take that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was a no-brainer, man. It was a no-brainer for sure. And again, the beautiful narrative that I wrote about, going out and leaving in 5 months, it's like, that's exactly how long I needed to be out here.
Right.
I came out, fucking microdosed my ass off.
5 months.
I got the job done.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about it, Cody, is, and which I feel just about every day, is the momentum that I got because I made that massive action in my life.
Yeah.
I got to a point in my life where I'm like, I feel like I'm doing all the right things. I'm, reading books, personal, like, yeah, but you got to take action.
Right. Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. And it's action on some type of vehicle. Right?
Yeah, for sure. Figuring out that vehicle.
Yeah.
And I feel blessed enough to find a vehicle that, like, for so long, it's like, yeah, let's make money, financial freedom, blah, blah. And it's definitely easy to get caught up with that. And it's exciting and blah, blah. But I don't know. I wake up every single day, like, just knowing, like, it's bound to happen some level of success. But what does that look like for you? So how I rate my success in a business is not how much money I'm making. It's like how many people's lives am I changing,
Right.
Like, so collecting data on that. Like, I'm not going to, like, when I go to organizations, I'm not going to talk about how many beds we have. I'm going to talk about how many graduates, what's our relapse rate, all this data that we're gathering. Because that's where, those are the talking points. That's what, So I just feel like this industry, people are just so caught up in the money. And how many beds they have. But again, that's what makes us different as an organization. That's what I feel in my heart,
Well, you are the leader and that's who you are.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can say that's what your business is like.
Yeah. And so again, back to my first statement, it's like basically I've been blessed to find a business that my purpose is bigger than myself, and like, the money, I could care less about the money. Like, I'm excited about it.
Right.
It used to be more of the focus.
Yeah.
But now since,
now that you know it's there.
I've built this life.
Right.
I've pulled myself up from the fucking slums of slumming it around based on decisions.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, okay, just keep doing what I'm doing. It'll come. Let's just stay focused on the fucking mission.
Yeah.
And the mission has to come from me. I have to live the mission every day in order to grow this into that level of, like, credibility.
Yeah.
People know Come Back Care by our mission.
Right.
You know, it's not, you know, we're ethically, you know, moral, and that's what's going to separate us. It's what blows my mind. Like, yeah, there's plenty of credible organizations out there, but I'm just talking about specifically from what I've seen, just being in a very small period of time. Like but again, from what I hear, it's like a national thing, you know? So, isn't that wild? By doing what you're supposed to be doing, treating clients and getting them the treatment that you're being paid to do, you're going to stick out.
Yeah.
That's the fucking government, bro.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about just exploiting Medicaid.
Yeah.
So, but I think the day of reckoning is going to happen. You know, I don't know. That's another driving factor. It's like, just keep doing good. Keep doing good. You know?
Yeah.
But I don't know. So again, like the level of depth, you know, I look at each individual, you know, like I do my best, you know, we're going to have, you know, 25, 30 clients right now. I've been chilling around that just to at least know someone on a first name basis. Just bring that real kind of vibe to it. Because again, it's a business, but it needs to be a loving, therapeutic environment.
Yeah.
And not feel like a business.
Right.
You know? So
and people.
So that's really what I'm trying to like figure out, like what the ingredients are. You know what I'm saying? Because I've seen the real structured hospital settings. Like, no, like let's get people out of like their norm.
Right.
So it's fun, man. Just dissecting shit.
Yeah.
You know, breaking it down.
But
again, it's my craft, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why I like, you know, sports, working out, jiu-jitsu, wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, just shifting your energy to expanding in a different craft.
Yeah.
You remember once you started, you know, when you're young, wrestling, you started getting good and learning new moves and chokeholds, like started gaining more confidence. That's what this is. It's a confidence thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you're at a stage right now in your business where you're a team builder.
How the fuck, where do they teach that, bro? Right. I remember asking my coach, Shashin, I'm like, how can I be a better leader? What does that look like? Brett, just be yourself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But what is myself? Just be yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Shashin, man.
Right.
Can't wait to talk to that guy, dude.
Fuck,
I need to
we need to
update him, bro.
Yeah, that would be a good update.
He's in fucking school right now for his clinical psych, dude.
That's awesome.
He saw the way, bro.
Yeah.
Something that he's wanted to do his whole life.
Wow.
Had an experience and
I feel like...
And he's created the life that he can do it. Like he lives on this beautiful, like $4 million compound in Santa Fe. Like this life. Anyways, that's the guy that got the ball rolling for me, man. Shashin.
We're going to have a podcast in about 10 years where he'll probably be in this podcast. And we'll do it, you, me, and Shashin. Because y'all will have a business together somehow.
Well, he has a business.
Hopefully I'll be involved.
He does podcasts to promote his book, The Kid and the King. Dude,
well, definitely, if you're listening to this, definitely check that podcast out because this guy is legit.
The Kid and the King.
The Kid and the King.
That was my coach, man. He introduced me to the thought process of parenting your inner child.
Right. Yeah.
What does that look like, Brett? Parenting your inner. Anyways, it's super deep, you know.
It is.
So it's just like, you know, I remember working with him, writing a letter to myself, you know, like, dear, but my childlike self, his name was Bernard. So I remember doing these kind of exercises. They seem like, oh, come on. But it's speaking things into existence. And kind of like you think about it, but when you write it, you speak it, it's like it changes things, you know, getting it out there. So I remember writing a letter to Bernard, like, hey, Bernard, thanks for being here in my life. You know, it's my childlike self. Appreciate everything you've done for me, but, you know, the king's here. You know, I'm here to take charge, I'm here to take control. You know, I got this, you know, sit in the back, enjoy the ride kind of thing. So just kind of finding the relationship, you know, being appreciative of what that childlike self brings, but don't let that childlike self, you know, run your life. So, and he wrote a book on it. So it's a good book.
That's wild.
So he's I've been trying to promote it and do podcasts, but I think that's on the back burner just because he's in school right now.
Yeah.
But how did we get into Shashin?
We were talking about your job and how it's a team building thing.
Yeah.
It's team building.
Yeah.
That's what you're in now. And it's like
I just had someone quit today. Just walked out. Yeah. Wow. I got a text message this morning when I was boarding the flight.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a massive team building thing, man. I answered that question like, how do you be a leader? What does that look like? Yeah. I just look at myself. I've always been a leader.
Yeah.
But my bullshit is like cover that shit up for the longest of time. But I've always been a leader. I've always stood out from the crowd. So, and again, it's like the confidence and like the energy that you bring to the table.
Yeah.
Like acting as if.
Yeah.
Okay, I might mess up as a leader. I already have.
Yeah.
I've made some decisions that weren't beneficial. I'll learn from them.
Right.
So, but yeah, man, it's, making sure everybody's getting along.
Right.
Everybody's navigating through all the little relationships. We're small enough now that it's all about relationships, how to address certain people based on, how they receive things, if they get, offended and blah, blah. It's like, again, it's one big socio-science experience.
Yeah. But you can
experiment, I said.
Yeah.
I should say, yeah.
You could totally see how someone being the team leader on another business is going to directly affect how those people operate.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
I think that's what happens. And that's what I witnessed working for corporate companies where you hire people. The company will hire someone who has good numbers themselves.
Yeah.
Right? They've performed well. They came in as a contributor, a sales rep or whatever, a trainer in our situation.
Uh-huh.
You come in, you're a great trainer. You're selling all these packages, right? And, well, you think you're a great trainer. You're just selling lots of packages and doing lots of sessions, okay? Maybe you are, maybe you're not. Maybe you're just attractive, right? Maybe you got the gift of gab, whatever. So you hit all these high numbers as this contributor, and then managers are like, well, we need to get this person into management to make more people act like him. And so he can teach them. But they never ask him if he can teach.
Right.
Right? So you promote that guy, the performer, the one who outperforms everybody. That does not mean that they can teach and or have the sensibility to teach.
Right.
Which is an aspect of leading.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that person gets in charge, and then they start hiring people like them.
Got it.
To perform like they did. Well, I can't change these people. Get them out. We need more people like me. And then the culture just changed.
Yep. Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, that's.
And I watched
corporate all the time.
I watched it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I love to work for myself.
Yeah. Yeah. But you get to create and hire those people from your own judgment and your own vantage point.
For sure.
Of all the personal growth and expansion that you've gone through.
Yeah.
You are more educated and more girded with all that's necessary to make really good decisions in hiring and seeing people for who they really are and seeing what they could be and nurturing that.
Yep.
No,
for sure. I mean, for me this year, not that I really set goals.
Yeah.
I never do it's more like get things done. I have a goal, blah, blah, blah. But this year, I mean, just thinking about things I definitely want to be more intentional about is becoming a better leader. What does that look like? So for me, it's just being more interactive, having more meetings. I think the better I become, the better the people around me become. So what are some things that I do to get better? So, maybe just start sending out a weekly newsletter kind of thing. I don't know. Just getting more involved with training these people, developing these people.
Yeah.
I feel like it's definitely a niche like, what is it? I feel like there's like businesses, like business development kind of thing.
Yeah.
But basically just learning that.
Yeah.
It
seems like you have to live it.
For sure.
Right? It's like you can't ask someone to do something that you haven't done or aren't willing to do.
Right.
Right? And then accepting them when they can't do that.
For sure. And figuring out.
And building a relationship through, even in spite of that.
Is there a different way I could teach it or translate it or show it kind of thing? But it is definitely like a lead by example.
Yeah.
Like just making sure, I stay contained, emotionless.
Yeah.
Because again, it can be an emotional job and clients being irate and, so yeah, you can lash out and be like emotional about it and take it, personally. But that's, having like a team that understands that and sees that with their, like the head up, it's like monumental. So, I mean, I have a really great leader with our current clinical director, like-minded individual. And so, but it's fun, man. Yeah. Like I said, tell me like 4 years ago that what I was about to get into entailed this, like, how the fuck?
Yeah.
But that's the beautiful thing about it is, man, I saw the opportunity. Did I really know anything about the behavioral health business?
No.
But I'm becoming a master.
Yeah. I like that.
You know what I'm saying?
I like that mentality.
Because
we've talked about it before.
Becoming a master. Like it's my craft, dude. You know, I'm just living and breathing every single aspect, every single insurance, billing, investments, real estate. There's so many different things to know.
Right.
And it's ever evolving,
Mm-hmm.
So, no, it's fun, man. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it has to get to a place, if you want to enjoy what you're doing, that you're trying to master it.
Yeah.
And it's hard to master. It's hard to get yourself mentally there for some jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just true, right?
Yeah.
But when you do have an opportunity where, like you've said, your purpose and a vehicle for financial independence has come together, it's like that mastery is what you have to like always remember.
Yes.
And mastery is always lifelong, right?
Right.
But like, I think when you want to master something, it makes you try to like reimagine or reanimate, or what would you say? Something? Reprogram? No, we're talking about where did that come from? All right, let's do it in reverse. Let's
reverse engineer.
Reverse engineer. Yeah, I'm always reverse engineering my sessions. Like when I'm training people, like on all kinds of stuff. Start with accessory movements first. Instead of the main compound movements. Because I do it with myself. Right. And I've always done that. Like, I wonder if I can get something else out of this. I might not get this, but I might get a little bit of something else. Right. Wonder what that is. Interesting. That wonder is something that you have to keep.
Yeah, and again, like how that can directly translate into like what you're doing with the real estate.
Right.
Reverse engineer the real estate.
Yeah.
That's what that's all about.
Yeah.
Getting commercial building. What does that look like? Different avenues to get, so that's the way I look at like my business currently. Like, okay, ultimately the goal would be to currently right now, who knows what other opportunities might present that make sense, but eventually like, start getting like private money investors, and have like a small percentage, not publicly traded, but so and start purchasing other organizations and becoming like a bigger entity per se, or just find some investment, hedge fund that wants to purchase it as a real estate or a business acquisition because it's generating profit, right? It's cash flow. Yeah. So for fucking, they say it's like 6-7 times over. Yeah. Good night.
Good night.
What's up? The next
What's
business
next?
Says,
yeah.
But it's always going to be in service, I think.
It has to be.
It has to be. Because
I think that's just how we are.
Be sick to go out, start like my own like race car driving team, kind of that level. But
yeah,
like, who's that fulfilling?
Yeah.
Right. So it just, again, it's not an alignment.
Yeah.
It's not an alignment.
Alignment.
Fuck yeah.
The old alignment. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
that's cool. Again, these are just through, looking at the connection, between me and God, and that experience, like these realizations have really come into fruition and like solidified.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just continuously solidifying.
Right.
So drawing near, closer and closer with that purpose.
Right. Yeah. And being humble enough to just even kind of seek your purpose or try to become aware of it.
Yeah.
A lot of people, and we've all been there, right? We're just not, almost don't even want to believe that there is a purpose for you, because maybe you're holding on to some grudge or something didn't happen the way you wanted it to, to happen.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Who knows? Who knows, man?
Who knows, dude?
I was thinking, the day that I had the incident at work, you and I were on a phone call.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what? You got fired? Why the?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Crazy.
But
we were talking, and I had just had a thought, and I was like, I got to call Brett and throw this by him. And I was like, I've always identified as a leader. And I was taught to be a leader, lead by example, always example, right? And I was like, if I was the leader I think I am, right? Or thought I was, what would I do right now to better all the lives that matter to me? How could I lead them? What does that look like? And you and I were on the phone, and I was like, as a leader brings people together.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you have to do.
With a common purpose.
Yeah. And
with many things in common.
Yeah.
Say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, what would that look like? And we were just bouncing ideas back and forth. And what did I say before I got off the phone? You remember? It was something like, I have to trust my judgment. That's what it was.
Right.
I have to trust my judgment more. I've stopped trusting my judgment ever since I lost my senior state championship in high school. I lost my confidence in my decision making. Because up until that point, dude, I was like, I've done everything properly to close out this chapter of my life in wrestling that I've been doing since I was 5 years old, with a state championship my senior year, where I'm clearly the best wrestler in the state, probably in all like divisions, 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A.
Crazy.
And then I lose. I get choked unconscious, rolled over, which is illegal, rolled over and pinned. And I wake up from the deepest sleep I'd ever been in and realize that I'm at fake Wake Forest University. I'm like, I'm not at Wake Forest. I said, this ain't the state championship, is it? I said, I'm not at Wake Forest, am I? And I see the Wake Forest banners, and I'm like, yep, I am.
Wow, dude.
What just happened?
Dude, I've never...
And so I'm like bleeding because he had busted both my nostrils. I had plugs in both of them. So I've got blood all over my face, and I shake his hand, I walk over to my coach, and he's like, are you okay? He was an old Marine from New York, hard-nosed, black belt in judo. Dude was the hardest dude. And I said, I don't remember what happened. What happened? He's like, are you all right? Did he choke you out? And I was like, I don't know. And so he starts yelling at the ref, and then the ref's like, no, he was kicking out. He tried to kick out. I was convulsing.
Wow.
I've got the video, dude. I started convulsing, and then like I sent this like big kick out with my legs, and then stopped, and then they called the pin, and the guy got off of me. And the moment he got off of me, I woke up. It was almost like I went out for a second and then came back to.
Yeah.
So anyways,
yeah.
So I had like this realization that I had ever since that day. I've been like second guessing my decision making on a level that it doesn't need to be at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because of that one event and how much I had built that event up in my life.
I mean, yeah, I can definitely relate. I mean, I was good at running. I mean, I made it to state. I wasn't planning on winning states. I wasn't that good. State of PA is fucking loaded with all those runners.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I remember I didn't get to the finals in like my main event, the 800, and I just remember it like crushed me. But I wasn't focused. Like I was going through like some shit with a girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
So again, decision making on relationships. Yeah. Whether I was aware of that or not at that time, that definitely started like the whole decision making on girls. And so again, totally relatable for sure. Because again, I can almost guarantee if my focus was on point, sleep. Right. So I was very methodical. I was very good about, nutrition and stuff. Not what I know today. Yeah. That's for damn sure. Damn, Asher's gonna fucking kick ass, dude.
Yeah.
He's already drinking protein shakes.
Nice.
Dad is giving him protein shakes, not to deter from.
Yeah.
Dude, hilarious.
It's hilarious.
He started asking me, Dad, can I get a protein shake? I'm like, yeah, I have some. So what I do is put egg white in, pasteurize for extra protein, a little bit of powder, and a little bit of milk.
Yeah.
Just get it thick. Dude,
right.
He loves it, dude.
That's awesome.
So I'm trying to get this kid fattened up, man. Baseball season's right around the corner. We've been practicing, man.
That's cool.
Oh.
Yeah, you send me those videos of you guys throwing balls.
Because I become a kid again. Dude, so much fun, dude. I'm like reliving. I mean, I'm like feeling like I said, I need to stop pounding away at my body and get more mobile.
Right.
And like I said, come March, but yeah, it's a blast, dude. It's a blast. It's just fun. I see him having like a work ethic just from what he's like witnessed. Like, dude, we're literally going outside. He doesn't like give a fuck if it's raining out.
Yeah.
He wants to go play.
Oh, I love that, man.
I don't really remember having that drive about like baseball like that.
You
know?
Like a sport.
There's never really like that kind of drive. There's like, hey, let's go have fun. I never really like took it serious. I was naturally like gifted and fast. That's why eventually I started running. But just thinking back, my parents never like, it was more for like fun. I kind of wish they like, do you want to be competitive? Like give me the options. Like, hey,
right.
If you want to, you got to do this, this, and this. It was never really explained. So, but with Asher, like he's taking it, like he wants to go to the majors.
Yeah, that's cool.
That'd be wild. Why not? If I have like the resources that I can, bring available.
Sure.
Batting cages, maybe get in some coaching.
Yeah.
Develop this kid.
Yeah.
That's a good time, man. That's a good investment. Now the question is, who's going to make it to 100 million first? That's what I keep teasing them. Oh,
really?
Road to that $100 million contract, Asher. Let's go, baby. Starts today, man. I have it in videos, man, because for when the day comes, if that ever comes, that'd be a pretty, like,
interesting.
Put it out into existence.
Huh.
Because I feel like, again, I read in journals.
Yeah.
I remember journaling back in the day. At some point, I knew I was going to go out to LA. I just couldn't figure out how. I remember reading that journal entry on my way out to LA. I'm like, holy shit, I totally forgot about this.
How old were you?
It was like 4 years prior.
Oh, okay.
It was right around the time that Asher was born.
Mm.
I just knew I had to make some drastic changes. I kind of knew what it was, like moving out here.
Yeah.
I just didn't have that vehicle.
Right.
And then I became a trickle-down baby.
Trickle-down baby.
But yeah, that was awesome shit, man.
That's wild, dude. Yeah. Just thinking about having a kid, it's wild.
Yeah, Asher did. But yeah, we'll see. Like I said, just having fun with it, man.
Yeah.
Taking one day at a time.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much easier it is to become present with or without a kid. Him even more so. It's almost like default, but now I feel like my presence, I'm much more aware of being in the present more often. Mm-hmm. Like just kind of always gut checking myself. Like what's going on? How am I analyzing this situation? You know?
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Self-talk, man, is so powerful. Yeah. So powerful. And for so long, you're not even aware of the fucking detrimental self-talk. You know, and then you like start journaling and writing shit. And then you look back and like, damn, like how little fucking love and grace on yourself. Again, because I do have journal entries from back in like right around the time Asher was born.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to just read back at certain moments. I'm super happy that I did. That's the beauty of journaling.
Yeah.
You know? Definitely need to be more intentional. Make note.
I've got, looks like 8 journals down there.
Beautiful.
I've got a couple over there.
Love it.
Journaled so much, and I don't want to look back at any of it because this is what's funny. I will eventually.
Yeah.
Right? But after the MDMA session, I journaled all of it, right? So I was journaling all my microdoses every day. I had like I was up to 90, I think, or 80 or something like that.
Yeah.
Like all the days I microdosed and like how did I use that properly? Did I meditate? What did I think about? Stuff like that. And then the MDMA, and I journaled all the thoughts from the MDMA, but I haven't gone back to the journal as like a daily journal. Like I keep doing this. Because it's almost like I was journaling because of my shame for not being where I was. And I feel like if I
staying stuck in it.
Yeah. So it's almost if I went back and looked at my journal, it would probably read like this. The plan is this, right? I'm not there yet, but I'm learning this and I'm learning that. But I'm not there yet. I've got to do this. This is the thing that will get. And it always ended with, all right, this is the plan. All right, refocus. And it's like, I feel like I would go back and see a lot of that where I know, like, where I was saying that stuff because of, like, guilt.
Guilt.
And it was
doubt that
guilt and doubt.
Will it happen?
Right. Yeah.
Do I believe in myself enough?
Yeah. And hoping that my decision-making wasn't as flawed as I had become aware of.
Because of the guilt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And being guilty about it, right? Yeah. But now that I'm aware, and also aware of that, and less, I have way less shame because of the MDMA session or guilt. I think I understand that, like, this process that I was trying to expedite is the hardest process to expedite. You know?
Right.
Just stay focused, but allow life to allow things to grow to where you want.
Hardest in what sense?
What do you mean?
You said this is the hardest part to expedite.
Becoming an adult. Finding a vehicle, or just educating yourself enough to understand money, how it's formed, how to create it, what goes into that. I never knew that stuff, and I always thought that I could have that, I could figure it out, but I didn't know where to start. And so the past, 15 years of my life has been like me trying to educate myself and feeling behind,
right,
with the knowledge of, a lot of things that people have that I didn't have,
right,
and so it's like I was trying to speed that up because of how, when you're in school, it's like every year you've got progress, next year state tournament. It's always next year state tournament. Once you get out of that and you're not competing anymore, years go by and you're like, what changed?
Have I gotten better?
Yeah. Am I getting closer towards my dream or my goals? It's a very hard thing to one, come out of the gates full speed, but then just to like figure out how to run.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And run in a different direction.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Learning how to pivot.
Yeah.
Learning how to, evolve and adapt to, what life brings at you.
Yeah. And I kind of understand that process a little bit more now.
Good.
So my journaling from back then is a person stuck.
That's really the beauty of journaling, man.
Yeah.
You literally go back and you read it. It's like, wow, Brett. Okay. That was an interesting phase.
Yeah.
Look how you think about it now. It's laughable. And it's cool to, like, recent journals, at least the past several months, it's been more about gratitude.
Yeah.
Like I have my journal, one of the journals that's just pure, like, wah, like fucking vomit. Like, fucking bitch. Fucking bitch said this and, like, woe is me. So I got that. But I'm just trying to, like, change what I'm journaling about. And it's definitely gratitude. So it's funny to look back. If you can't think of anything, just think of something.
Right.
So even down to, like, thank you for the air that I breathe. And just cool to, like, go back and read that. It's like, damn.
Yeah.
And just be like, dang, this person, not knowing that was you.
Right.
This person is grateful.
Yeah.
That's really where all this comes in, man. If I could pinpoint something, it's gratitude.
Yeah.
Gratitude. Just living. It's almost like a state of gratitude.
Yeah. Isn't it funny? Like when you hear Wayne Dyer say that and when you, all this stuff and you're like, yes, I know that's true. And then MDMA therapy and you're like, oh, that's what that feels like.
Yeah, that's what that
Got
feels
it. Now
like.
I can't forget that. Now it's on me to continually remind myself of that experience.
Yeah.
To keep going towards that North Star, to stay focused.
Like that's the
aligned.
Like that's the true level of love that you should have for yourself, what you feel in that experience. Because you think about it, that's just like pure bliss, pure love. And then the veil goes up once, external factors come into play.
Yeah.
So just tapping. It's funny reading like the transcript of my second, experience and like just, it's almost like I'm like reliving it because I still feel so like connected to that experience because it just had such a profound impact on my life.
Yeah.
Like how many times can you say that about certain situations?
Fewer the older we get.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So, yeah.
Well, I think we should end this bad boy. I'll end the podcast on this, but I don't have much of a following right now with this podcast, but eventually some people will go back and watch this.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to listen to this. And if I were to sum up, like say something at the end of a podcast, not many times in life do you have real friends. And if you want your life to grow, and if you want to grow, you have to be a good friend.
Yeah.
And you've been that for me. And I think we've tried to do that for each other.
Yep.
And support each other. And, it's like you've gone out and built a whole business and have not changed for the worse. You've only grown as a person, right? You've only expanded, right? And most people don't do that, right? And to me, the person who hasn't had that business that he wants to get off the ground like he wants, right? To see you do that and to still stay humble and seek to grow more and to care more is inspiring. Because I always wanted to see that. I always wanted to see somebody go through it, hit that mile marker right? And then still be that same person, you know, or as good as that person was before they had it, right? Before they got to that point. And that's a hard thing to come by, because success in all forms, financial, reputational, you know, has a very almost deceptive way of changing people.
For sure, man. And that's definitely something that I've actually like thought about, like, you know, like not necessarily like a fear, but it's like, damn, like I don't want to change who I am. I see what money does to people, you know, people that's super close to me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want that to happen to me.
Yeah.
So there's almost like this proverbial like fear of it. But again, it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
As long as we keep doing what we're doing, because how we got here is we've been doing what we've been doing.
Yeah.
Staying on the course.
Yeah.
And again, you know, I think in business in general, but specifically in my business, there's no room for an ego. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need to continuously stay humble, stay level-headed, stay real to my team members, to the clients. You know, it's never going to be about me. It's always going to be about them. I never want anyone to ever feel like it's Brett's company. Right. And that's really like the culture that I'm really intentional about creating. It's like everybody that comes through that door that I hire, I specifically say, I'm like, hey, I have the vision of creating this company, of impacting people. I want you to feel that vision as well. And if you're fully invested, you know, it's going to be phenomenal. And that's really what I look for, people that are passionate about what they do. Because there can't really be any weak links. And if there are weak links, they'll work their way out. Because that's really the power of the culture that I'm creating.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
no, it's just been, you know, it's a good thing to see a friend succeed.
Yeah. I mean,
and I think people get too jealous.
And you know what I love about how you see my success? It's not from a monetary standpoint.
No.
It's everything that I want to be known for with my success.
Right.
Like, I feel so successful right now.
Yeah.
But I'm just getting started.
Right.
I'm just becoming more aware of what I'm expanding into.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's so important. Like, you kind of get a glimpse into, oh, I was right. You can expand. You can continue to grow as a person. You can continue to cultivate your character.
Is that the cheat code right there, man? You know, it just
getting a glimpse into what you could be, and feeling that real connectedness.
I mean, you just feel so connected to that notion alone.
Yeah.
You know, like, is that the cheat code? Is that what it takes right there?
I think for a lot of people out there, that's what they need. Because it's changed my life.
MDMA therapy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
This podcast is sponsored by Comeback Care Psychedelic Therapy Approach.
Yeah, that's going to be the future. That's going to be an expansion of your business.
Now,
yeah,
if we want to dive in deeper, the culture shift, society shift, shifts in higher levels of awareness. Is that possible? What is the next wave of awareness going to look like?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm hopeful.
Oh, I'm so hopeful, man, because not to get into, it's a fucking crazy place out there, man. There's so much fucking shit going on. I don't even know how we're surviving without Trump in office. Yeah, no, John. Every day we're walking around and the price of eggs is going up, gasoline prices soaring, all because of Biden. Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Focus on yourself.
Yeah. It's hard. That's
MDMA. That's what I'm saying, man.
Yeah.
But again,
100%.
Isn't that exciting to think about the possibilities? Because again, you and I are so much alike. When we're in that experience, there's like, God, I wish my fucking brother could fucking experience this and wake the fuck up.
Yeah.
And I don't mean
with all the love in your heart.
And I don't mean
like
any kind of negative connotation.
Not at all.
But this is
not at all.
This is the way. Happiness is the way.
Yeah, you can be happy again.
Yes.
And you can know why you were sad. Like, really, why you were sad.
Yeah.
And then, work on not doing that anymore.
So, and what's creating a life's beautiful narrative and story. Looking back, Brett's 75, 80 years old. If I would write my story, looking back, it'd be like, damn, I had an MDMA experience that gave me a better perspective on my life, which essentially led me to build an organization that, impacts people on a different level. And now since MDMA has been, around for the past 40 years and I implemented that from my MDMA experience, I help other people become more aware.
Dude,
Impacted thousands of lives. There's no dollar sign on that, dude.
Dude, isn't it funny how you and I connected over the psychedelic therapy, microdosing? We connected over that. You leave 4 years later. Now you have a substance abuse clinic, a behavioral health clinic, right?
It's a fucking beautiful narrative.
And psychedelic therapy is soon to be legalized. And you have the system in place to facilitate the need or the demand that's going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, bro, I foresee
it's funny to think about.
It's getting so what does that look like? It means that Comeback Care needs to become a really credible organization that's vetted, that has credibility, that has PR. So, when the treatments and, testings come out and pharmaceutical companies are, doing trials and shit and
yeah,
they, write a grant for $5 million. Hey, run this new therapy at your clinic because we'll try it out and get test data. And that's what just happened with a local organization, like a new approach to opioid withdrawal. They're not using, they use Suboxone, which is, but they're trying something different. So there's all kinds of developments with MAT, medication assisted treatment. It's a whole different branch. It's more of like the medical side. Yeah. So, which again is another interesting branch of addictions medicine. How is it legal to prescribe methadone, which is basically legal heroin,
right, and
profit off of it?
Yeah.
And again, methadone, if you know anything about methadone, I know very little. All that I know that it was not developed for how it's being utilized. It was only developed for a short-term withdrawal. Now people are on it for years.
Right.
And it's so harsh on your body. Again, it's legal heroin. Just because the government says that it's okay to take this, but heroin, obviously affects but people are walking around over-medicated.
Yeah.
And then when you fucking mix in Xanax and give Xanax to an addict, they become a Xanax addict as well.
Yeah.
FYI, the next wave of...
And Adderall. And whatnot.
But, it's the next wave of... They say Xanax addiction's worse than opioids.
No.
It makes complete sense. Think about it, bro. If I'm taking a pill that makes me feel good as shit all the time, and I can still it boosts your serotonin levels.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then stop taking it, and I just start feeling I'm just mega depressed.
Yeah.
Basically, very relatable to my first experience off of the day after my first journey.
Right.
I was so depressed. That was because serotonin levels are low as shit. So getting off of that, bro, not only is a psychological dependence, but also becomes a physiological dependence where your body physically relies on it to make sure there's enough serotonin. That's why the detox off of fucking benzos is one of the hardest detoxes.
Mm.
But the government allows doctors and nurse practitioners to prescribe it. Most of these new nurse practitioners out these days, bro.
Right.
Here's another thing is...
The Florida thing?
I don't know about that,
okay,
but the nurse practitioners that are continuing their education, doing an online course.
Right.
you need to do some fucking clinical work.
Yeah.
But that's not a requirement for some of these. So getting those clinical hours, working alongside a doctor and like when not to prescribe just because you got your nurse practitioner's license.
Yeah.
Just, again, prescriptions overprescribed.
Yeah.
It's like the people aren't the problem. You know, of course, you give out fucking medicine that you can get addicted to. What do you expect is going to happen?
Exactly.
You know, but again, not that I'm like a conspiracy theorist, but
right.
Control.
Right. Yeah.
Egos.
Neglect.
Yeah. At a higher level.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. But what I was going to say was, you're talking about, build that credibility of your business. Mm-hmm. There's no better way than getting your voice out there.
Absolutely.
Because you are the business. Your business, that's why your business is different. You. I mean, if you've listened to this 3-hour podcast, then like this, Brett is a genuine dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a hard thing for you to not be genuine.
Yeah. Just who I am.
Yeah.
It's interesting. There's no deterring from it.
Yeah.
Just, it's a natural order.
Yeah. And I've always noticed that, and
appreciate
that's why we're friends, man.
Yeah.
So
appreciate
this was fun.
Dude, fucking blast, man.
Good.
Like, I don't know where all the time went, but this is something that it's super powerful.
Yeah.
That was a very empowering experience for sure.
Yeah.
And just listening to myself talk about my story. Like, yeah, man, that's fucking me.
Yeah.
So yeah, very cool. Very cool experience.
Awesome.
Life's one big adventure, man. It's how you want to spend it.